Start with the tweeting birds.
Oh, they're tweeting. They're tweeting. Hey. Yeah. We're live.
Do I need to lean in? Am I good back here? Do you want me up here?
Oh, you're chilling, dude.
I'm chilling.
You can hear yourself,
you
so
know
you'll
what?
know where
You
to
know
lean
what?
or not.
You know what? You do you. That's the motto of GnarCast is
You do you, boo.
you do you, boo.
Can do.
So
Like Nick Gibson sits back here.
that's right.
Nick, come on.
Gibson Nick.
Yeah, he would sit
Gibson.
way back.
Yeah. His pro model over there.
His
Right.
backard ass pro model.
Yeah. Episode 7, GnarCast. We got DrewLR in the house.
DrewLR.
Got you
DrewLR.
in here.
Yeah, DrewLR.
Dude, so like that was one of the things
So
that
many people say
we
it
were
that
we
way,
were
too.
talking about, like the differences of
I say Drew.
what it is.
My man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my man. In fly fishing, like fly fishing's community is so much smaller than like skateboarding.
Yeah.
Skateboarding's so huge, you know. And so I was talking about this to someone the other day that if you were just at a restaurant anywhere in Arkansas, like you're
Right.
sitting having lunch at Hammond Trees or something like that.
Yeah.
If someone like Paul Rodriguez was eating at a table behind you, you would know who he was.
Right.
No one else in the restaurant would have a clue.
Would know.
And
Right.
skateboarding's huge.
That's right.
Fly fishing's so much smaller, but in that, my name is known a little bit more, and so I'll have people who will call me like DrewLR or DrewLR when I'm out fishing and stuff like that. Today, some dude pointed at me. I went into the fly shop, and some guy was like pulling out. I turned around and saw him like pointing his hand at me, like saying something to someone in the car.
That's great.
But yeah, DrewLR is what I was going for. My mom, would get so frustrated at me and my little sister's name's Jewel.
Okay.
And would call me Drool, like
Drool.
unintentionally, just because we would frazzle her.
Oh,
So much.
because like in true mom form, she was putting names together.
Yeah, just
Love it.
fumbling
Love
because
it.
she'd
Yeah.
be so stressed out, and so that was the original root of it. And DrewLR with the 2 O's was taken, so I was like, I'll just spell it DrewLR, but I'm from Little Rock.
Man, play on words, huh?
Right.
I thought I was being clever, and unintentionally, I ended up going by DrewLR. I'll take it.
Take
It's
it. Take
Yeah.
it. Well, yeah, dude. Thanks for coming. In the house, got Brad Magar. Holler.
Back again.
Back again. With car troubles.
Ran out of gas.
Ran out of gas. Oh, ran out of gas.
Yeah.
It wasn't the coil packs.
That was on the
Okay.
other car. So
Oh, gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah, the
Just a
gas
series
thing
of
is,
unfortunate events.
that's what I
That's
said.
that's
You
one of
know,
those things that when it happens, you don't have to ask questions about what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
You're like, I know.
Yeah, I know what this is.
I know
I
what
don't
this
have to
is.
go to
I told the
mechanic.
wife,
I
I was
got
like,
this one.
Should I just give up today? 'Cause, yeah. She's like, you'll make it. You'll make it.
That's hilarious.
Got to check your belts. Nope, just put some gas in it.
That's right.
I'm gonna throw you guys on the wide cam for a second while I run downstairs and grab a battery for my switcher because I can't freaking switch the show
can't switch her.
if this thing's dead.
We'll sit here.
So you guys,
We can sit
chat-
really quiet
no,
and
you-
we'll act like we're frozen.
If you don't chat it up,
Yeah, like-
yeah, people. They're lagging.
They're on
if you
loop.
don't chat it up, then I will know in editing.
That's right.
So
Ah, there we go.
busted.
All right, well,
Well,
so
hey, do you drink it all? Do you want a beer?
no, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
good.
I have beers, but
I'll ask when did you like first experience like skateboarding? Like when did it come into your life?
Okay, yeah, I have two intros because there were two different things. So my uncle Miles, it's my dad's little brother, was a skateboarder, and he was like a Canis Park like bowl skater from the '80s, and he ripped, like he seriously ripped. And when I was very young, I mean maybe 6 or 7, we went and saw him out at Canis, and I remember it
It stuck
pretty
Yeah.
vividly. Oh yeah, I remember he had a pink board on like the sides, and the bottom was like pink and lime green, and like kind of true like, early '90s fashion. And it was like the fishtail pretty much still. It was before like the front and back paddles.
Oh yeah.
And that was the first time that I like had my interest sparked. First time I stood on a skateboard. In my head, I learned to drop in at Canis when I was like really young, with my uncle.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's very likely that he just like helped me down the ramp.
Yeah, there's no telling.
Yeah, because you're just so young, you don't remember. I've told people I learned to drop in at Canis when I was a kid, but I don't actually have a memory of it.
You're not sure. You're like,
I remember
know
being
that
on a
happened.
skateboard. I remember going down a ramp, but I don't could have been on my butt.
I'm stoked
You know
that,
what?
like, Canis is like one of your sticking
first.
points. I love
Yeah.
that, dude. That's what I'm looking for is from people. It's like, it was a pink board. It was this dude. Like,
Yeah,
for sure.
Well,
for sure.
the second time I was introduced to skateboarding was later. My mom and dad had gotten divorced, and we'd gone to live in this kind of weird house. I went with my mom, and we're living in this weird place on Highway 107 in Sherwood, Arkansas, and there was a gas station next door that was like a closed service station. They just were never open. And my buddy Justin Clark, who was like my main fishing buddy, came to stay the night with me one night and brought a skateboard. And we went over to that gas station, and he was like a decent skateboarder, which is crazy because he'd been my best friend for
And you
years,
just didn't know it.
and I just never seen this. But he like grew up in Alaska snowboarding and stuff, so he took to it kind of naturally. And I remember standing on a board at the gas station very vividly. It was a zero board. I want to say that it was the Jamie Thomas Cross, but I feel like that was maybe the next board he had because I don't remember the bottom of it. I remember standing on top of it. I know that I learned shove-its standing still the first day I ever skated with Justin Clark on his board. And I begged my mom to get me a skateboard.
You're like, Mom, I'm basically
Pull-
pro. I'm basically
yeah,
pro already.
Pulled
You
one
know?
trick and you're hooked.
Oh, dude, I was so... I mean, I was wintertime when we went over there, and I think we stayed out as late as we possibly could. And we were like maybe 11,
Yeah.
you know, as late as we could. And my mom was like a pretty trusting mother, so she would let us be out there, you know. And, yeah, my first day ever, I could roll and I could do shove-its. I couldn't ollie or anything. I begged her for a skateboard, and we went to Toys R Us and got a Veriflex board. It had an 8-ball on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I think
Like
I
a
know what you're talking
whiteboard,
about.
8-ball, and then like a black line vertically the whole distance of the board, and then Veriflex written down the side. And I skated that thing until I grew out of it. We didn't have a lot of money, you know, and so my mom was like a hardworking woman, and she tried really hard to give her kids absolutely everything. But anytime that, like, you know, you dabble in something, they can't just go all in for
Right.
you. So the Veriflex got me by for a long time, and then when I grew out of that, it was Paige Hearn did blanks in North Little Rock,
Paige.
you know. So blank page
We know.
board, red grip tape.
I
red
broke a lot
creeper
of those
trucks.
boards.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I broke a lot of those.
Actually, everybody broke a lot of those boards.
Yeah, they broke a lot. But if you bought them from him there, a lot of times you couldn't go get a good one. He only had the defects because
Right.
he'd sold the blanks that
That's
he made that
right.
were good.
That's right.
So you'd go
Yeah.
get one that would have like some weird dent in the wood or like something.
Fat knot in the
Yeah,
in
something
the
like
grain.
that. And they were $20, you
That's
know?
right.
So
Right.
I would buy like 3 of them and then go street skate.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'm gonna
what
go
wasn't that the deal? Is that you had to buy like a 5-pack?
No, I always bought singles for $20.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
$20.
He never had like consistently had grip tape though, so
Right.
Yeah.
that was when it was like Section 8, and then Chaos Culture was just starting, and then in Cabot, Arkansas was Stuckey's Extreme Sports. You could get board stuff there.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
I did
In-
some time in
Yeah.
Cabot, but it was before that.
In Sherwood, it
In-
was
In prison? Or just time?
Like, I don't know if they
I think
got
we
a
lived
There's
there.
a prison there.
We lived there a
Is
year.
there?
Is there? I don't know.
I don't know.
Cabot was
I would-
pretty suburbia.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right. Okay.
Cabot
yeah, yeah.
was like
Clean.
That time frame, Cabot was like the Klan capital and all that. It was real wild.
Oh, gotcha.
Not in like the wild sense, but in the
You don't wanna
around
be
it.
there.
Yeah, not in the fun kind of wild. But yeah, in Sherwood we had a JP Bike Shop, which I think they're still open, and
See,
they
I think
sold.
that's the one I remember. Was it a glass front? There was one
No,
over
it was
that
like
way
a
that was
tucked off.
glass
It's
front.
on Keel Avenue, I believe, and it's tucked off a little bit, or JFK maybe, but it's like tucked off the road just a bit. Brick for side entrance building, and it was all bikes, but they had this one little section that had skateboard stuff. So I'd get my decks at Page, I would buy grip tape at JP. And my first board I put together, it was a real skateboard, was a blank deck with red grip tape and red creeper trucks. If you remember Creeper?
That's- yes,
Yeah,
I do.
Had
remember-
the
it
skull,
had the-
and I had a set of those.
and
dude.
and the mold, the shape of the mold, kind of had little.
It encouraged mall grabbing.
Yeah,
Oh,
that-
dude,
Oh,
totally.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Because it was the Batwing,
It
but
did
like
Yeah.
have the- yeah.
it's really funny though because like Creeper trucks are the perfect trucks for someone who mall grabs, not just because the grooves, because of the style.
Because of the style.
They
so
belonged
you're-
on
you're-
BAM boards and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
So
it was
you were
like-
getting placed Yeah, it was like product placement.
They trained you. It groomed you to be a mall grabber if you liked those.
That's
but
right.
We thought they were the coolest things in the world. They were Allen wrench trucks too, so they were super inconvenient.
Had a skull. That's all that mattered, right?
That's right.
It's got a freaking skull, dude.
That's true.
But that was all. That was all my intro. I owe every bit of me learning and loving skateboarding to my friend Justin Clark.
That's cool.
And he put me on that path. We skated together for years. He was goofy footed. I was regular. We did like the whole trick battle where he would learn.
Duo.
Yeah, well, I mean, he would learn kick flips. I'd learn hill flips. Then he'd learn half cab hill flips. I'd learn half cab kick flips. You know, it was like he did board sides, front side. I learned the back side.
You were mirrored.
It was seriously like mirror image.
Yep.
Still, that's you pushing each. You never would have gotten where you're going if you didn't have each other.
Oh no, I owe
way.
my whole adult life even to him. It's real crazy. I lost touch with that guy for probably like 15 years. And when we were living in our camper in 2021, we were going to stop and see him in Oregon. And like our whole goal was to stop in, see Justin for like 30 minutes and then keep driving. And as we were pulling into Portland, he lives like in Portland Metro, we lost a hub assembly on our camper. And I mean, it flew off. A car pulled up and was like, "You lost a wheel." I thought they meant we had a flat tire. The entire hub assembly was gone. And for those of you who don't know, that means you can't put a spare tire on. There's no bolts. There's nothing.
There's nothing there.
So I tried to go find the hub assembly, like,
of course,
and it flew off in some median. And there's a blackberry bramble everywhere in Portland. It's crazy because it's a big city, but like every median, every side of the road has got blackberry
bramble. Yeah.
And you can pick 5 pounds of blackberries anywhere in Portland and Metro, but if you lose something in that bramble like a wheel, you're never gonna get it. You know,
because it's like deep in the bramble.
Yeah. So Justin knew we were gonna.
Bramble.
He knew we were gonna come by that day, but he didn't know exactly when or anything. And we hadn't been that great about being in touch either. And this hub assembly flies off. We're still like a mile from his place, and it's a huge city, you know. And so I go pull over on the side of the road. It's like 5 o'clock traffic. There's cars everywhere. I think it's like 6 lanes of traffic. And I go back to this median that we passed to try to find this hub assembly. And I'm looking in the blackberry bramble for like 30 minutes. And then I look back at the camper, and there's a truck behind my camper. And I got filled with fear because Portland is one of the scariest cities right now. Crazy stuff. It looks like Escape from New York.
Yeah, and you just don't know what people are gonna like walk up on you.
And my wife she's at
by
the
herself.
camper, you know, by herself on the side of this busy road. But if someone got her in there, no one would have a clue, you know. And so I start running back, you know, and I'm running back to the camper, and I get back, and it's my buddy Justin, who happened to be driving by.
Wow.
And like pulled over. Yeah, and he looked different. He'd like gained a little weight, and he had a beard. I wouldn't have picked him out of a lineup.
I love it.
And we ended up being stuck there because I had to get all the parts to fix it. It took 9 days. It was during the height of the COVID, like...
Start to say everybody's parked on the side of the road in Portland.
Yeah, well, we fit in his driveway. We have a triple axle camper, and it was the rear axle, and we got to like limp down the side of the road and get to his house, and we fit in his driveway. But they are.
Which is crazy because like the Airstream that you have is the longer version. Like it's one of the longest,
biggest
right?
they ever made. It is the biggest.
So the fact that it fit anywhere, especially in the situation that you're in,
the clearance on that thing is so low that if there's a speed bump, you have to like zigzag over the speed bump. So to go into his driveway, which was uphill, I can't believe it worked, and it worked. Everything worked out so perfect. We were stuck there for 9 days while I got all these parts together to fix this hub assembly. And Justin, he's extremely knowledgeable about stuff like that, so it was a huge help. But I got one of my best friends back, like, through that, you know, because we'd lost touch, and we weren't going to be there that long. And through that, it's like you forget sometimes about the people you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd totally forgotten how much I love that dude and how much of my life I owe to him. And yeah, to get to spend that time with him like was
forced on you basically.
And he never skateboards anymore, and I'm trying to like get him to get back in the groove of it. He's a super hard worker, and so getting out for him is probably hard.
When you get older and you spend most of your time working, it's hard to just pick up the board and go do it because you're going to get hurt. You're going to pull something, and it's just like even if you just go slash curbs, it's
Yeah.
Bruised ankle, bruised heel, whatever. It's so easy to do.
It'll get you. It's got me right now. I got a torn UCL like right now. I'm just I can move my arm again, but this has been a 3-month recovery trying to get to where I could do my job again. From a very simple fall that shouldn't have hurt me. Yeah. I slid out, like going down a ramp at our park's really jammed together, the Russellville Park. And
it's very compact.
It's like they planned this massive park and they didn't have the land, so they built it too small.
That's what it looks like.
It's
they had the features in mind, and we're like, let's just
they cut it in half and then squeezed it together.
In all honesty, it is exactly that. I've the plans exist in the world, and where there's supposed to be quarter pipes, they didn't have enough room, so they just did these weird bank curb things, and the park was intentionally designed to be larger. It's a weird and very unfun park if you're a local. It's fun if you've never been there.
Yeah,
you're
if
there
you get to
for
cruise
a day.
through, it's fine. Yeah.
If you were to be there every day, it's like discouraging. But we got a couple kids, and I'm always trying to gas up my local skate scene. So I go out there. I feel obligated to skate there. I don't ever go skate street or anything. Right. It's like if I'm in Russellville, I'm skating the park because I need to be there because those kids need someone to skate with.
That's right, man.
We have
support.
Oh, dude, I'm always trying to make new skateboarders there. But yeah, there's a younger kid there who's a decent skateboarder, and I'm always trying to gas him up. So if I'll try tricks with him that I shouldn't really be trying.
You shouldn't be trying them anyways.
Yeah, and there's this weird little tiny Euro gap and then a bank to block, and we're trying kickflip manuals off the bank across the block, and I'm rolling off the Euro in kickflip position instead of just I would usually roll off it. And I got to the bottom and just slipped out and slid just like you're sliding into second base, feet first, with my arm up, and my head hit my arm and tore my UCL on my head. I felt it pop and everything.
Weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Your head broke your
It's crazy
ACL.
also when you're in your mid-30s and you fall, and the way that you register things now, where used to be you twist your ankle, and the first thing you think when you roll your ankle is I'm not going to be able to skate for a week, And I'm $25,000 fall, because that's where my brain goes.
Right.
Where it's
how much is it going to
6 weeks
cost?
of physical therapy.
Yeah. Now I can't work. Now I can't do anything. I can't fish, can't work, can't row my boat, can't skateboard.
You're trying to figure out what can I do?
Yeah, I'm right-handed,
dude.
It's I'm just going to sit, and it's going to cost so much. But it's just how that park's designed, though. It's everything's so compact, you can't plan ahead. You just kind of got to go for it all the time. And I get hurt there way too much. But part of getting older, you get hurt.
I haven't been down there in a while, but I remembered, like you said, I liked it.
It's a nice park.
But if I had to skate it all the time, it's kind of like Walker.
It's a bit discouraging. And
you get stuck in your ways at Walker, I think, more than Riverview and Little Rock's my home park. For what I've skated there more than anywhere in the world. And you get your ideas put into a box by being there all the time.
Oh,
for sure.
100%.
And you need to see someone skate it who's never seen anyone skate it. If a new person shows up who's not local and they're visiting and they watch you skate it, they're going to start trying to do what you do. But if you just sit down and watch someone who's never skated it, get after it, you might learn something new about your skate park.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like a exposure therapy a little bit because if it's just if you're isolated in anything, you're going to be set in those ways, and then what it takes is for you to be exposed to another way of thinking before you're going to change.
100%. It's perception, and you put your ideas in a box. It works in all aspects of life. It's not just skateboarding.
Yep.
But I have. Now, being in my mid-30s and at my current skateboarding skill level and confidence, I only have a few tricks that I know how to do now. And it's when I go to a skate park, my first thought is, all right, what can I do my tricks on here? What feature accents this trick the best? And so sometimes I'll skate a skate park in a way that no one else there does, but it's not because I'm better or more creative, because I'm not. It's just because I grew up skating Riverview. And so whenever I see a hip, instead of being oh, you just do bank-to-bank tricks on a hip, I'm hips are for slides. That's how I treat them.
Yeah.
And having that, I need that more so in Russellville now. But that park's so confusing because it's so jammed together that I don't get stuck in a routine the way I have in the past.
It's not a defined line.
Yeah, well, there's no lines.
You have to be creative and go, I'm just going to go this angle, or I'm going to go this angle.
Yeah,
I
it's
really want to try to pull it up.
it's
I've gone traveled out and I go to a new park and you're just like, man, especially back in the early 90s, mid 90s when stuff was kind of weird, like they were building weird parks, you'd literally show up and go, I think I need to watch a few people before I start pushing around because like you can't find lines and it's just not.
I
made it
love to
harder
watch
back in the day than it is now.
I love to watch people skate a bowl before I really try. But if I'm the only one there,
Sure.
I do like trying to figure it out. I was just in Houston for like something that didn't get me to be able to get out the skateboard. I was basically down there for like my buddy's medical stuff, so I was just in a hotel room. But I went to one park one day for about 45 minutes. I was...
Is that big one?
No, it wasn't that big. It was like a neighborhood park.
Okay.
And they had this weird bowl, and I looked at it, and I was like, I'm so intimidated by this thing. I see my 2 lines that I can figure out, but I want to watch someone skate it. But the line I thought the locals would do would have them drop in on a tombstone to, like, you know, get their pumping line. I didn't want to do that.
Right.
You know when there's, like, a tombstone at a skate park and it's the only part of the ramp that's bigger than the rest? I think getting up to drop in on that to start your line feels uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I'm going to stand on the stage pretty much
Or
to
the
start.
skyscraper.
You
Everybody
can't-
look at me.
Yeah. And I was like, there's no way that that's their line, but it's the main one that makes sense here. And sure as shit, like, this kid shows up and he starts skating,
I
and
always
that's
had
the
fun
line.
back there.
Yeah, but dude, the bowl, it just ends.
You're right. It's like a drainage. Like
So where I'm
whirlpool
looking
out.
at it from, like from this angle, you drop in, you go over the tit in the middle, you get like a single stall over there, you can come over the tit and then hit this pocket a few times with some carve lines, and then once you get back around, you're out. There's just...
Isn't there like a bowl corner at the very end?
On the
down there?
very end, there's
I
it's a
remember-
horseshoe,
I
but
remember liking that a
it's
lot,
so
too. It's
steep. It's so steep that like it's very difficult to learn anything on, and no one will skate it with me.
You're forced to do anything that you grind or is a stand up.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's so
haven't.
steep.
I haven't successfully done anything other than a slash in it that actually moved. I've gotten like back tails that stalled in it, and I've done a bunch of different front rocks on
See,
it.
it's got the stair in the middle for
That
you.
thing's my favorite thing at the park is
cool.
that little bank to block.
The bank to block.
It's crazy, dude. It's
It's
seriously
totally like a mistake, but it's fun.
What's really cool though is if you look from this angle, there's that like, I don't know, it looks like there's a person standing up on the flat.
Okay.
About
Yeah.
200 yards past them in that angle is a ditch, like a street ditch.
Oh, I didn't know
And there's
that.
a bank to block. And the block is about twice that high. The bank's really good, and it runs like 70 foot wide. And so you got to catch it just right. But this is a really good place to start your day, get warmed up, do the same trick a few times. Then you go to the ditch and skate the bank to block.
Get the street
Do
trick.
you ever go
Yeah.
over to Clarksville? Man,
I've been...
I know me and Rip went over there at one point with the boys when he was living over there.
This
Oh,
is-
Clarksville.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
cool little... It's a little
Yeah.
art park, like a concrete park. A prefab metal ramp park. It gets washed out. Where it is, it gets washed out, so there's dirt all over the whole park. One day I spent 2.5 hours sweeping it.
Jeez.
Yeah, that thing's so crazy. The horse.
Seeing it's got like hips into it. I guess you could call it
Kinda.
that.
Look at the bottom of this curved around hubba that's like
Yeah.
a quarter pipe hubba.
Oh,
Look,
right at the bottom there.
look at
Yeah,
the crack. So you see how the seam is? It actually goes down in. So if you're not paying attention,
yeah.
coming
You
down
will
it.
totally. You could eat it going up it too.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that all over this park. It's so poorly thought out. Wally Holiday built it, which
Wally
is I guess
Holiday.
the person who did
I remember that.
Tony
familiar.
Hawk's original Boom Boom Huck
Yeah,
Jam
Boom Boom
Huck
ramp.
Jam. Yep.
But so that
It's
was
a recipe.
that was the reason, or that's the bragging point when the city's like, well, he built Tony Hawk's skate park. It's like, no, he built a ramp.
He built a vert ramp.
They got moved
Yeah.
a lot.
That's right.
The way that cities do this stuff when they build skate parks is they get a design and then they bid it, and whoever will do it the cheapest gets
They
it.
just go with it.
Right.
Every bridge you drive on was built by the cheapest person who would build it. That's just how it works with skate stuff.
Sure.
And so this design, they bid it. I think this park was $85,000 at the time frame, which I would guess if you built this now, you'd probably be at like $225 to $250.
It'd be better though. 'cause
But it would be
we've come a
so
long way.
much better because there's so much more. Yeah, that's the list of all the people who
Yeah, there's
put
some
money towards it.
information in there.
It's crazy
curious.
because
Everybody's really trying to front on what they did.
well,
What they did, yeah.
I'm trying to put an addition on to the
Oh,
skate
really?
park. Yeah, and I'm really one of my main things is that the sign there has got to be there. So like,
Oh, okay, right.
if I do an addition and I have to raise new
You're
money,
gonna be on there
we
somewhere.
gotta do a whole
new
new sign
sign.
for the addition.
That's right.
It's ridiculous. You're gonna show up and you're gonna have to read a whole newspaper of the people who sponsored the park. To be like, this guy gave $12 or whatever, because they want all the names listed.
I mean, there's a lot on there.
There's a lot on there.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
Oh,
the skate shop's on there.
it's gone.
It's gone,
It
but
just
it's
says skate
shop, which is hilarious because nobody.
It was called that, though.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but
but it was like-
anybody else seeing it
Would've
would
been
be
like,
like,
which one?
What skate shop?
What was the name of it?
Well, when the town's 27,000 people, 20,000 people, it's like,
Way
oh,
much
the
more than
skate
that.
shop.
You know
it's
the skate
one.
shop.
Yeah.
It's the only one
It's
in
like
town.
the bakery.
Yeah,
the bakery.
seriously, it's almost like that. We
They're
got a
not-
few bakeries now, but most
We got
of
a few
them-
bakeries
Yeah, we got a couple.
They're not going to get it confused for a roller skating shop.
Right.
Yep.
That's
I had some
funny.
family live down there, so I used to go down there all the time.
Yeah, that's funny.
I like our little park, the Clarksville Park that you brought up. I went there twice, and the first time it was so covered in dirt, I just ended up going and getting a broom and sweeping for like 2.5 hours. And I finally got it to where I was feeling like it was clear enough, and I went to skate and was like, this place is still so dirty. It needs to be power washed. It needs a
It's pretty
leaf blower
slick
and then a
and-
power wash. So I called the city. I'm at the age now whenever I'm like, this has got a
call
problem.
the city.
First thing I do is call the city. I did it the other day for Morrilton, and then, I'll start with Clarksville. So I call the city. I tell them that the park is filthy. I'm like, I know it probably seems like no one ever comes here and that it's a waste of energy to take care of it, but the reason no one's here is because it's unskateable. You would ruin your bearings being here.
Yeah.
You can see how dirty it is from this picture, like it's just a brown.
Now
you can
this is-
see the pile of dirt over
this
there.
is the second park, right? The other one had the mini ramp that was really good for a long time.
I didn't
Clarksville?
ever know that one. I never
It was
knew
like
that
all metal, and then I think they might have had a bank to bank. But,
Ozark.
But it was it was,
Clarksville?
and I think it was out towards Mount Nebo.
Well, that's right. Oh, that's Darnell.
That's
Darnell.
Darnell.
Okay,
Darnell.
yeah. Yeah, Darnell, they're actually about to redo that too. So I'm always
That
talking
ramp
to,
is jacked right now.
I talk to the city of like whatever city has a skate park in my area
That's
all
great.
the time.
As
So, like,
an adult, you
in
can
the
do
past
this.
2 weeks, I've talked to Clarksville, to Morrilton,
Nice.
to Darnell, and I go
Nice.
meet with the mayor in Russellville a lot
Stir it
to try
up.
to get it built up.
That's great.
You're right. I
stuff.
can see dirt in the back.
But so they came and
comes
I
right
told them they
downhill.
needed to it needed to be cleaned. They said they put in a work order while I was on the phone. So I came back 3 days later to check, and they had come out and clean it with a street sweeper. Like a guy
They
literally drove out
a
there with a
sweet
cart.
sweeper.
So
Wow.
it was still really dirty because he didn't get near the ramps.
But it had all the marks.
But
in
all
it.
the center of it was clean. So it's like as long as you don't ride on the ramps, you just do big circles
they don't
around
get
them.
it.
They just didn't get it.
Homeboy was probably like 300 pounds too.
And-
I'm
and so-
sorry.
Cruising.
I asked them if I could
City
pressure
job.
wash it myself. I was like, I'll just do it. And they told me no. And a lot of times cities get upset when you do stuff like that, and you can get in trouble if
Sure.
you go like
Yep.
do.
Oh yeah.
But so that when I was at Morrilton the other day, Morrilton's got a little park, and they used to have this pole jam that's on the bottom right of this.
Yeah.
And this is the company that turned into Pivot Custom.
That's right.
And so
Yeah. ARC's Pivot Custom
Yep.
division.
So they had
Yep.
this little pole jam at Morrilton, and someone ripped it up. And the bolts are still there, just sticking out of the ground like an inch.
Oh, I love it.
But you don't know they're there. So if you were to fall and put your hand down, it's going to go through your hand.
Oh, no.
And there's another ramp that
Tetanus.
got ripped up. And I went and I saw it, and I was like, someone's going to get hurt on this. And then I'm trying to learn to do certain tricks again, And so I've been trying to get like 50180s again. And I just skated this box at Morrilton for like an hour and a half, just in the zone, trying the same trick. And I get my water bottle and my stuff to leave, and first thing I do as I'm pushing to my car is roll straight into one of those bolts and like slam with my hands full. It's like, oh, you knew those were there. I'd already taken
it's
pictures
because you
of
knew
them.
it was there.
So I
Yeah.
just called the city, like sitting there.
Oh,
I
right.
called
Yeah, yeah.
City Hall, and I was like, hey, I need to speak to someone in the Parks Department. The mayor came and met me at the park within 10 minutes.
Dang.
I showed him
Wow.
everything I thought that was wrong with the park.
It's dangerous.
I went back
literally.
1 week later, and they were all angle grinded down. Everything that I pointed out, he had fixed. He missed one set of bolts that I don't think that the guy knew was there or whatever.
Right.
So I will call him again, but I didn't want to do it like next week. Hey, you missed
Right.
a spot.
You
know?
missed a spot.
Send your boy back out.
As skateboarders, though, a lot of us will go to a spot and be like, oh, this is cool. This is broken. dam, and then
And
you
then
just
leave.
skate and you
Yeah.
leave. And if you would just call the parks department and let them know that something's damaged, they're gonna come try to fix it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't benefit you. Sometimes you come back and the whole rail's gone or whatever. But
We
they-
took care of it for you.
yeah. No park anymore. But sometimes they will fix it. And so, like, it's happened for me a few times now. Sometimes they don't do a good job, but if you stay on them, in the same sense that, like, if a mom called that a slide had a piece of metal loose on it at a park and some kid was going to get his leg sliced open, they're going to go try to fix it because they don't want to be held liable.
Well, and especially when, like a citizen, whether they know that you're with the city or not, like when a citizen voices something and it's public, I mean, that could have been public record.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and what you don't consider a lot with a park like this is that slab of concrete for Clarksville Park costs $40,000.
yeah.
You know, and every single one of those ramps, like, but when they built that park from nothing, that park probably cost, I would say, by looking at it, $75,000 to $80,000, and with the amount of work that went into it. And they want to make sure that it's getting used. They don't want to put this money into something to just rot, and they don't know when it's broken because they don't. For one, they don't know what they're looking for. You know, and you go to a skate park on occasion, and there'll be like a big crack right before a rail. And it's like, why did they do that? This is completely useless.
Yeah, man. The first one I can think of, there's a Gentry, Arkansas. They have
oh,
a
yeah.
park,
Dude,
and
Gentry's
there's
that ramp is so, it's like
I love that.
a quarter in
Yeah.
the back.
I just
the
sent
it- quarter?
The quarter's
Yeah.
all lumpy and like it's
I
like,
just texted it to.
it's like Canis.
You know, David Gravette is doing the worst skate park thing with Bronson.
yeah. Oh, that would
And
be a great one
there's
for that.
Gravette, Arkansas is right there.
That's right, and
yeah.
they've
and
got a
it's
spot.
spelled the
They-
same.
and they have a park.
And they have
Hey,
a
I
little
skated
park.
that at the end of the summer. They have like a little launch ramp.
Yeah.
I was totally doing early.
So
grabs and stuff.
I know Dave, and I've done a video with
It's
Dave.
awful.
And we were talking about doing a video this summer that I is going to be really cool if we get it done. But I called or sent him pictures the other day of the Gentry Park, and he was like, "Oh, it looks good," and I was like, "You don't understand. It's made by. It's like one of those. They took a design, they bid it. A local builder said,
dude did
I
that.
can pour it." And so there's all sorts of stuff there that just doesn't make sense. My favorite thing there is it's like a blank bank to block,
That's right.
but the block is only like 4 inches wide, and it's like a 4-foot drop on the back. So if you try to axle stall it or anything, you have to ollie
is
like
a
a foot and a half
that's a
off a
trick,
steep bank, and if you miss, you're going to like get hurt. You know, and it's crazy because you can kind of tell.
You can see it. You're like, oh no, it's cool. But then as soon as you start hitting the cracks,
Well, when you
and
look
the
at it
training,
and
you're like,
really
what is
look at
going
it, you
on?
can be like, okay, I can see that this was not made by a professional park builder.
No, exactly. You could.
And yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. The banks that are on this, like where this picture is taken from, where this
It's
guy's
from the bank,
standing,
yeah.
the one that's directly behind him is the one that I think is the funniest.
Yeah.
But you can tell by those two little launches, and look how sharp the corners
they're
of them
like
are.
this long.
Yes.
But like,
Dude,
imagine
the
if,
corners are like so sharp. If you hit your head on that, it's
Oh,
gonna
you're gonna
bust you
die.
open.
You're
It's
gonna
gonna
be-
bust
if
you
you
open, straight up.
accidentally clipped, you're gonna cut your board in half because they're so sharp.
I looked at those and I was like, well, I saw it. I remember when we first built it, I was like, sick. This will be a little.
I thought,
spot,
yeah,
man. And
if
then,
you look at the picture, it's like,
What's
yeah,
this
it looks
bottom
great.
corner one over
I
here?
don't know what that is.
Is that the new Magnolia Park? Doesn't say Ealing. It's probably in Missouri or something like that.
Missouri or
Missouri's
Oklahoma
the
gets-
UK.
UK.
To the
Yeah.
UK.
Missouri and
does.
Oklahoma, they're just like
Dude,
throwing
they're getting
darts.
some parks,
Park,
dude.
park,
Yeah.
park.
They
Even
We're
totally
getting
are.
some here though. Like I want to gloat on Arkansas. Magnolia
Yeah.
just got a Spawn Ranch Park, and Magnolia's
Oh, it did?
tiny, dude. And they got it looks neat.
Seriously?
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, it's brand new. It's been there like 6 months, and it's a nice concrete park, all
Shocked.
concrete. I want to go down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Van
not know
Buren's
that.
almost done.
Yeah, Van
Yeah,
Buren's
Van
almost
Buren,
done.
yeah.
Nick's been posting stuff.
I told him, I said, dude, you're hogging that place.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
but the
Nick Gibson's part.
yeah.
the park that's the little preview they put up for the Bentonville thing. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Man,
there's
I
a
was
lot.
up there a lot, and I hope it turns out like they say.
If we get the Russellville edition, what I'm trying to build there
Fayetteville,
is
too.
like mostly small stuff for kids to learn to love skateboarding on, because
Sure.
we don't have a flat row, we don't have a box, we don't have just so that's my focus for what we're doing, and it'll be a $150,000 skate park most likely.
Still sounds crazy, don't it?
Well, it's crazy when you think about it though, because building a bathroom, like Walker Park's bathroom, costs more than the skate park.
Yeah, because
That's without even looking at the money
It's
or anything. I can
ridiculous.
tell you right there. It's like
construction costs.
putting
generally.
up running plumbing, putting
Electrical.
electricity in a bathroom, building a bathroom at a public park is like $350,000.
Well-
Building the skate park is going to be $150,000.
Now,
you know?
I don't know this for certain, but I would I would assume that with the splash pad being right there,
Yeah.
that plumbing wise they were able to kind of blend
But that splash
blend that
pad
a little
came
bit.
way later.
Did it?
they had a spot, but when they did their splash pad, all of a sudden that bathroom got cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
so
then after
I'm
the
not
splash
sure.
pad, we started having them come out like once a week and dragging some homeless dude out of there that was.
Mm-hmm.
They started
OD'd or-
caring, and the big dirt track next door is gone now.
Yeah, we were talking about that with James. He was one of the race
Original
directors
dudes over there. That's how we know him from that
Yeah.
spot.
But yeah,
Interesting.
honestly, it was cool. The dynamic that the bike and the skate park had was really cool. The one unfavorable thing was when people would go ride the dirt,
And then come over and track rocks
Well, that was
everywhere.
usually kids that didn't know, or especially
Yeah.
they'd go mud it and then.
but it
come
would
over
happen
and be like,
often.
We
So-
have at our park in Russellville, we have guys who are older men who bring out little RC cars.
Yep.
I've seen that.
And the
Those things
corner
haul.
of our park is like gravel that they used to build up to the ramps because they didn't pour into the ground. And those guys will fly off the ramps and then
And then
peel
you see
back
the
out.
gravel
And dude,
just-
they'll kick 100 rocks out there.
Yeah.
And I'll always tell them, I'll be like, hey guys, it's completely cool that you do this here, especially when there's no one here. But every single pebble you kick out here could break my arm. So if you're off the park, just slowly move back onto the park, then go fast. Like, don't just be ripping all over the place because
Yeah.
you're screwing over not only me as an adult, but all these kids who are out here.
Well, an adult can more likely be aware of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas kids are just oblivious.
And
to-
also, like I am
on?
6'3" and 220 pounds and covered in tattoos. And so if I come up to you and I'm very nice about being like, hey, please don't do this, generally, and I'm not talking about this like I'm tough, but if I was just some old dude like driving RC cars, I'd be like, yes, sir, I will do that. And
this
so,
big tatted guy walked up to me, told me what to do.
but more than anything, it's about those kids because we have such a small amount of skateboarders, and I'm always trying to gas that up, dude. Like
Yeah.
DGK just did $30 completes for Christmas. They're
I
like
didn't know that.
they're
That's
cheap.
cool.
They're usually $110. They're marked down to $30.
Dang. That's a big time mark.
big
It's
drop,
like
yep.
their DGK wheels, their bearings, which they're not. None of it's good. It's like 92 Duro wheels, so they're a little soft.
But it's something that can get a kid.
It's something that can get a
Starter's a
kid
starter,
going. So
man.
I bought 10 of them, and it's like I'll give this to every kid out there with a Walmart board. Anyone who's out there trying, as long as
They're
they're trying.
better than our starter boards.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And so in Russellville, if you decided you wanted to skateboard tomorrow, you have like 3 options. You can drive to Little Rock to go to Zoomies because
right.
there's not like a good dedicated shop anymore.
I honestly, I didn't know there was a Zoomies.
Yep,
I
there's
did.
a Zoomies.
I did not know that.
But like because of Zoomies, no skate park stop or no skate shop stays alive. You
Yeah.
know, so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can go there, you can order online, or you can go to Walmart and get a board that says Tony Hawk on the top of it.
Academy,
And that's
bro?
what all that we don't have Academy. It's small. So that's what everyone does. And so there's several kids that have been on like these super busted Tony Hawk boards that have gotten new completes this past week for me or this past month for me having those.
Dope.
But like any kid who has enough interest and is trying, I'll hook them up, and I'll sell them boards in 5 years. You know,
Sure.
once they have money. But for
Hook
now,
them. That's what I'm
I
saying.
just want to make skateboarders.
Sure,
that's
sure.
all. It's funny because skateboarding's so big in so many places. You go to like,
And then it's so nothing on other
well,
places.
it's an
weird.
Olympic sport now.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
like you got guys in South California who have an incredible concrete park every 3 miles. And then you have people in Russellville, Arkansas, who have that one park that doesn't have even a flat rail or a flat box. There's nothing you can get on without going downstairs or off a bank. Horrible place to learn.
Sure.
And it's like, how is this supposed to add up to be equal or fair? And so I just want to nurture what we have. You know, I want to and try to grow it. The kid, y'all probably, have you met that kid Jagger? I know he comes up here and skates. He's young.
I know you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah,
He's like 14, and
Yeah.
up until can I use profanity on this show?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's only one way for me to express it. Up
That's
until
right.
recently, I've thought he was a real shithead.
Yeah.
And turns out he's a super sweet kid. I've
That's cool.
started spending some more time with him and stuff. he's the only real skateboarder we have. He's the only one who goes there and tries. He's the only one who, like, there's kids that come up there and they ride around the park, but none of them really, like, try to ollie. They never try to kickflip. They never try to push themselves to learn.
You can see him progressing.
And he's a decent skateboarder, and I see him progressing. He's trying. And I want him to have people to push him because he deserves to learn. Like, we all deserve that. You had a friend group growing up, and y'all all skated and competed together, and it was fun, and, like, you were stoked when your buddy did a trick, but also you wanted to do good.
You were just talking about your friend where you were like, you do the heel flip, I do the kick flip, you do the front side, I do the back side, you know, and I think that when you have a friend group, you get to really like bounce ideas off of each other. And you're like, you know, it really helps when I like move my foot like this. Yeah, what do you do? You know?
And then when you're skating somewhere with your buddy and your buddy's trying something that's hard for him, like, it motivates you to participate because you don't
for sure.
You don't just want to sit down and watch your friend struggle on trying to jump down something and not try to jump down it with him. And so this kid in our town doesn't have that. And so, like, I'll be up there skating with him all the time, and no matter what it is, I'll try it with him if I'm not going to get too broke off.
Yeah.
The other day, he's trying to learn kickflip front noses, and I was like, I'll do big spin front noses because I can't kickflip for shit anymore. And you know, I'm in my mid-30s. I like don't think about how I'm in my mid-30s because, you know, in your head you're still a kid. You're just going to go and do stuff. I didn't take my pocket knife off my hip. It's in that pocket knife pocket.
Right.
I'm bending down and jumping over and over. And the next thing I know, my hip flexor just locks up, dude. I couldn't even walk that night because of it. But it's like, I'll just get out there with him and start trying absolutely whatever just to try to get him motivated to keep trying it. And he'll get tricks that he didn't expect to get if you just keep him trying it.
Well, don't discredit you skating with him too because it made you try something. That
yeah. I mean, what am I going to do? Like,
when
he's still young.
Try it? Yeah.
He's still young, and if you really nurture it, like. I skateboard for fun. You know how people like play music and they start playing an instrument, and then it's like, cool, I'm going to play in a band. That'll be fun. And the moment they make their first song, they're like, we're going to try to go somewhere with this. You know, like, I still think that way about young kids who are good, where it's like,
they have that chance.
That kid could still do something. I know skateboarding's gotten just insane, but, like, he could still do something. And he's learned on a park. Like, Darren Gentry, we talked about Darren earlier.
Yeah.
Darren learned to skate really well at that park, and he is, like, it's not even arguable. He's one of the best skateboarders to ever come out of Arkansas. You know, like, he's incredible. You can look up old footage of him. He barely skates now.
We can't look up all the old footage of him.
Yeah, you can't because most of it's deleted. But like, you can still find a park montage. Off-air. Yeah, off-air story. You can find a park montage of him, though, doing some flip-in grind on every single obstacle and a variety of grinds. Like, he was versatile. And so, like, that park, as difficult as it is, it can breed a really good skateboarder if they just really learn to skate it. It's just not convenient to learn.
He was good because he could go, you know, he learned at Russellville, but it didn't matter where he went. If I saw him at Walker, if I saw him up in Bentonville on the streets, it was the same stuff. So I knew that kid was good when you see that.
Yeah, I hated watching him skateboard because he would go so slow, but he would just float.
He goes so big.
Yeah, you know, you watch someone approaching something, you're like, oh, they're going way too slow. And then somehow they don't case it. They just, like, their tail clears the bottom step, you know. But he's doing laser flips and stuff like that down like 8 stairs. And you're like, I couldn't even, like, there's no knocking him. There's no way I could ever be at that level.
Nope.
But, like, just push one more time. You go a little faster.
For me, push one more time.
He went and did Tampa Am, and he like got halfway.
He placed something.
He got like there was 150. He placed like 70th or something.
I was thinking that kid you're talking about, Jagger, man, he's going to benefit from Van Buren. And he's going to benefit from Hamilton. I know those aren't close to him, but
if he can get, because he hasn't even been to Greenbrier yet. I'm waiting. He's 14.
That's what I'm saying.
And
gets that license, they either quit skating or they
get a girlfriend and they start worrying about dry hand jobs. But hopefully he
gets the car and the homies and you skate.
Whenever he turns 16, I'll go talk to his parents and be like, look,
drag him around.
I'll take him and do this stuff. I'm going to have him sign a release. I should say earlier, I'm talking about giving kids skateboards and stuff. I'm super careful because I do look the way I do and I am my age. So, like, I had a kid the other day who's got some busted shoes. Like, he's learned to skate. He's one of the kids I gave it complete to, and he's dedicated. He's the most dedicated one we have, other than Jagger. and he needs some actual skate shoes. So like, ask him where his dad works, and his mom's inside locked up right now, and for like months. His dad is just working double time. So I ask where his dad works. Go to his dad's shop. He works at a car shop, to meet him, to ask like, hey man, I'm not trying to be intruding into your life.
I know this
buy your
sounds
kid some skate
stepping
shoes.
on toes.
I know this sounds weird.
Yeah, I just want to give him some shoes. Like, and I don't think you need a handout. It has nothing to do with that. Like, because he's a man and he's providing for his family and he's dealing with the situation of his mom being locked up. But like, I want to get this kid some shoes. So I'll go and ask, and then I'll go and do if they're cool with it, you know.
Yeah,
and it's been working really well. But for that kid, Jagger, which he might even listen to this, so shout out to you.
Yeah, boy.
Don't think for a second I'm starting to think highly of you. I still don't like you very much.
Yeah.
But I'll look out for you.
Well, and I think it's, you know, with parents, especially parents that don't understand skateboarding, like they don't look at skate shoes. They don't look at shoes as skate shoes or an item of skateboarding.
So fast, and you're like, why are you trashing your shoes?
And your parent always says, like, why are you trashing your shoes? And it's like, well, no, I'm using it as a tool.
Well, I'll give a hack to the world right now who might not know this. I am all about supporting a local skate shop.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to do that before you go do what I'm about to say. But some of us don't have a choice.
Oh, yeah.
Ross Dress for Less.
Dude,
Dress for Less, Ross.
Dress for Less. I got homies some. I shod wear Nike SBs for like $39.
Oh, gotcha.
It's my first time ever buying SBs because I've always been like, I'm not doing that.
Somebody at Canis had the old 80s Airwalk 900 degree Fahrenheits, and I was like, those are original, dude. You're like walking on like $200 shoes.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I got them at Ross, and I was like. So I go to Ross periodically.
Ross probably owns Airwalk.
I'm looking
Right, they probably do. That's probably true.
But yeah, I
you're
totally
right. It's
caught
just
those
random.
at Ross the other day.
Yeah.
I was
It's a good hack.
I'd heard it. I'd heard that they had shoes, and
It's
I
true.
went there. They had like several different brands of skate shoes, but it's weird because.
But it's like funny because like it's like, don't they carry like Fallen? And
I didn't see any Fallens.
But it's like it's off-brand shoes, not like
it's like Fallen.
Fallen.
Fall on.
That's it. No, but
Fallen's back too. Man.
Fallen's back,
and I did see they sent a cease and desist.
A cease and desist to
that golfer guy.
A golfer.
Yeah.
He had the logo on his shit.
That's
I was like, dude,
that's Dubai money.
That's right. That's right. He's on the Dubai.
Yeah, that's Dubai money,
Yeah.
and then international copyrights are a little bit different than like statewide copyrights. So I don't know how this is going to go for them because they're going to go against people who have more money.
But I do know that Fallen does have international copyrights because
they're Filipino.
That could help
it's
them.
protected, like they retail worldwide.
Yeah, and I think they're
I don't know
Filipino.
why you'd want to do someone else's logo. Like, I understand if you're like, my bad.
Honestly,
I didn't know.
It's not the most creative logo.
That's what I was going to say. It's
like
actually kind of a weak
F's.
attempt.
Yeah,
at logo creation.
Yeah, I don't want to knock but yeah, I got buddies who ride for them, and like I'll buy Fallens. I actually don't enjoy skating them that much, but I'll buy them because like I want to support them because they support people who I care about.
Yeah,
sure.
So I've got in my closet right now. I've got a box of like where they ship me. So I have like 6 pairs of Fallens that have been in my closet for like a year and a half. I'll probably never wear them, but I'll give them to someone eventually. I just wanted to buy them because at the time I could afford it.
Damn,
and I wanted
that's
to support
2000s is crazy 2000s
Man.
right there.
I just want to support my homies and the people who I like or admire.
Sure.
And Adam Arunsky, who rides for Zero, rides for Fallen, and I met Adam at a bar in Spain a few years ago, and I've just really he started being involved as a rep, and then he got on the team at age 30.
Damn.
Gets his first ad in a magazine at age 30. And as a dude who's in his mid-30s, it's like, I just want to applaud him.
Yeah.
You know? And so
that's
anything
props.
that supports him, I want to pay for because I want that company, like Liquid Death. I'll buy Liquid Death stuff because they support my friend Adam. And we're not even that tight. We talk on occasion. Like, I don't think, he's probably not talking about me right now.
It should work that way.
But
though.
I
you
think
should want to support somebody.
Yeah, that's how it should work. You
Sure.
look at something. I've struggled really hard with corporate skateboarding, which is all that there is now. Almost. You have a lot of small skateboard brands, but as far as like shoes and stuff like that, you're pretty limited.
Yeah.
And I've really leaned against it for so long. And like I'm wearing Converse right now, and I'm just like I'm giving up. I'm
Gave up.
I'm
That's
tired.
right. Well, and I don't. You know, it's hard. In my opinion, it's really hard to call corporate skateboarding out because for a lot of skateboarders and skateboard brands, skateboarder owned brands, they're looking at a lot of these like deals as like meal tickets.
Yeah.
And like, I know some brands that retail in Zoomies, and that paycheck, like it covers the company.
Yeah.
For it to be in existence.
And it's how they pay their skateboarders.
Yeah.
So like
I think that's why we had the Olympics too, because corporate got involved.
I've leaned, but it's also the rise of concrete skate parks. I don't want to sit here and like be like, oh, I'm good with corporate skateboarding, because I'm not. It still makes my stomach feel weird. But there are a lot of guys who have given a lot more of their body and life to skateboarding than I ever could have, who have financial security because of corporate skateboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while I was a part of skateboarding when no one wanted it, as you were, and like I got beat up for being a skateboarder, as you did.
Same. Yep.
And so
them ropers beat my ass.
Yeah, all them
I had a
preppies
roper.
got me. Yeah,
preppy roper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to like see it being like an Abercrombie and being like, oh, that's cool that's where skateboarding is now, because you had to bleed for it.
That's right.
But you got guys who are just
couldn't be part time either.
You couldn't be part time. Yeah, you were blood in, blood out.
It's like you wanted to be skater so bad, and you're like, when am I going to be a skater? When am I going to be a skater? And like you didn't realize you were.
You were a skater.
You're
you are
beat up for
the day you start
enjoy.
loving skateboarding. Like
that's it.
You're a skateboarder.
Yeah.
All the people. It's funny, man. Like used to be, if you told me you used to skate, I'd be like, if you're not now, you never were.
Right,
you don't do
right.
it, you never did it.
Used to be more hardcore about it. But
now
it's
I
like,
understand.
You get the feels.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, I have got clients of mine through like my tattooing and all that.
Yep.
Who buy everything I make skateboarding wise, who haven't stepped on a skateboard in years.
Yeah.
But they keep up with it. Like they still want to talk to me about the culture.
They just grew up on it. It can't. I have no dudes like that. They're like, I still go down the road and I see the curb and the rail as I'm driving.
See skate spots.
It changes.
No, they don't.
It changes the way you
perspective.
see it.
It's a lens that when once you start skating, that's how you view stuff.
Well, yeah, you put your skate goggles on, and
That's
once
right.
you do that,
So
like
crazy.
it's funny. I have a YouTube series I recently started where it's kind of about the crossover between like skateboarding and fly fishing, because they both change the way you see the world.
Right.
Like, I imagine if you're like a gnarly alcoholic, you drive past a bar and you probably wonder what it's like in there too. But like,
wonder what that
probably
was
right.
yeah, as a
Probably right.
skateboarder though, you see every little piece of concrete that's different. You take note of, and a lot of times you remember. Like,
Sure.
I've got pictures of curbs and ledges on my phone, and I could tell you all this stuff. I haven't skated street in Russellville yet.
Oh, yeah.
We've got 30 or 40 really good spots that are untouched.
Yeah.
But like, I know all of them, and every ditch, every creek, I also know.
Dude, I know that feeling. I used to, when I was touring, I'd go to different cities, and I didn't know if I was ever going to be back in that city or not, but I would see a spot, and I would be like, hold on, everybody, I got to take a picture of this.
Yeah.
And I would go and just take a picture of the spot for like the thought of like, if I'm ever in Birmingham,
Yep.
I know where this double set short double set rail that like I know I can get on.
Yeah, I don't have to jump too high.
Yeah. So I mean, like, but yeah, it's the lens you view
It's the
stuff
same,
through.
and you think about it because it's like you're translating it to like the way a skateboarder would see it, and you're thinking about how would you approach it, how would you read it. In the same sense, we're talking about like how skate parks, how you read a skate park. You read a spot. You read water the same. It's the same with
I would
fishing.
imagine.
Yeah,
I
look at creeks and I'll be like, well, you can't approach from that way because the flow of that's going to drag your line, so you got to come from this angle.
Yeah.
It's so similar.
But that's like something that like as a skateboarder you would say the same thing, like, hey, for like this particular street spot, there's a little uphill and you kind of want to start on the uphill and swoop down. You get just enough speed.
Just perfect.
And as a skateboarder, that's the only way to know it. And I don't fish, but I would imagine that it's probably similar in that same stuff. You catch some of those things.
You're gonna find the spot.
Yeah,
like the next ditch you find is like, oh my god,
it's
I found
the spot. I found
no one's
the
ever found
spot.
it. Same way with the creek, you find that one spot.
That next bend though too. Well, you never actually find the spot. You just think you're gonna find it.
That's
so
right.
You're like,
and then you get there.
This spot's good, but the next one,
a little bit further down should be better.
The ditch that's in Russellville that I was talking about has the bank to block.
Uh-huh.
So it's got a section where this person's back of their house was probably eroding, so they poured concrete around their entire lot. So it's a literal like perfect bank to block that's probably 70 or 80 foot long,
wow.
and the block's about a foot tall. It's really nice. And if you were to like,
Isn't it cool? They didn't even know that they were building something.
no, they didn't know. And if you and
Building
it's
a skate
been there a
spot.
while.
There's some stuff like that in Rogers too, like butted up.
Oh,
against
there
people's
is. That is the
driveway.
Rogers ditch is like that.
There used to be the ditch was really cool, and then they're like, "Hey, let's put a brick wall on it."
and it's a
straight up
brick
down.
wall
Like,
against
yes!
a ditch.
Against
Yeah,
a
and you're
ditch
like
bank.
perfect wall ride.
Like,
Perfect wall,
So
right?
tail
Yep.
drop, you can wall ride.
This
it's like,
ditch is like
yeah,
that,
it's
where it's
cool.
like it's got that bank to block. But if you keep going past the great spot, you go further, and it's like just banks and banks. And then there's a really cool median where two ditches meet, and it makes a
See?
hip. And then you keep going, and then there's a gap, and you keep going further down, and then there's a really steep hip. And it's like, it encourages you to want to keep exploring.
Yeah.
And fishing's the same, where I'll be like, I can't ever just sit.
Like, I just want to move further down. It's like just creaking. You just keep going. Like, what else am I going to see?
Dude,
What
I
else
always
am I
end
gonna
up
come
like,
across?
it's getting dark, and I have to walk 6 miles back
You're
to
like,
my
Because
car.
you went so far down.
Yeah.
I try to have that rule where I'm
downstream.
like, okay, I've been hiking an hour, so it's going to take me an hour to go back.
Yeah, I never pay attention. I'm always just doing the worst. And I'll be like getting out of the water with like blisters on my feet, and I've walked too far. I don't have water, and then I have to walk 6 miles back. And it's like, man, I'm just not a smart, responsible adult. But I'm excited about what I love to do.
You're getting there, though. It's okay.
I feel it's the
You feel-
same way
we
about
see the journey.
skateboarding, you know, and like you always get hurt at the end of the session, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
not because, well, of course, because you're not going to get hurt and keep sessioning, but like you're always, it's when you're just beat, you know.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
like, oh, I
when
gotta
you're
keep
beat,
trying.
yeah, if you're a little exhausted, when you know, I the most of the times that I've ever fallen, it's either because I was exhausted or
Oh, yeah.
because I was trying some stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like I was just
Tired,
like
trying to
messing
whatever.
around, playing around, shot my board up this weird way, and the next thing I know, my finger's broken.
I always think that my worst skateboard injuries have come from pushing up to a trick.
Oh
Like-
yeah,
like my
Oh,
my
same.
UCL falling,
My biggest break.
rolling into a Euro in kickflip position. Never got to the kickflip. Was
never
already
got
hurt.
to the kickflip. Yeah,
Like most of my biggest falls have been like
approach
approaching
the
you know,
on the approach
because
Yeah.
you're so hyper focused on what you're doing and you're so worried about what you're doing and you're not ready to fall. Like you know how to fall. You've fallen a million times. You've trained your body, but when you're not
it's
ready
that
to fall,
it's spontaneous occurrence of like I'm about to fall, and you're like, I am not catching myself.
Yeah, I went to. You said Birmingham a second ago. I was at the Birmingham Park
Yeah,
last month.
that's nice.
It's
Yeah,
incredible.
it's a big one.
Park.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
over on the edge, and there was a guy who was doing. He was learning rock and rolls on this little quarter pipe,
Mm-hmm.
and he was keeping his shoulders parallel to his board rather than to the coping.
Oh yeah.
So I'm watching him. He's trying to turn too late. I was like, "Hey man, I don't want to." I
Yeah,
don't want to
sorry.
interject, but
Not
if you
trying to
decide
criticize.
you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
any help, I'd be happy to help you with this. And he's like, I would love help. It's like when you get on the coping, you want your shoulders to be parallel with the coping, not with your board. That way you're already turned. So just with your eyes, look and point with your back arm at the ground behind you, and that's going to make you
Yeah, it'll
turn
push
your
you.
shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that, like you're gonna bail the first time, you'll roll away from the second one if you commit. And I go over, and I watch him, and he goes the first time, and he bails, and he goes the second time, and he rolls away from one. He's like stoked. I can't teach people a lot of stuff. I can teach people how to do front rocks and back rocks and stuff like that because it's all upper body.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, all right, cool. And I turn around to like run and throw my board down to leave, and I throw my board down into the only pebble in the park. And I got so hurt because this is also I have a torn UCL. I'm wearing a brace, and I wasn't even on my board yet, so I wasn't ready
But
to
you,
Right.
you were feeling good.
Oh, I
It
was
helped
like,
all me out.
got you, brother.
I'm a skate coach now.
Well, dude, I was like, this is the moment where like you tell this dude how to do a trick. He goes up and listens to you and does it first try. Throw your board down, do a backside flip, and roll out the park.
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
It's supposed to be
And
like
like
that,
I go
yeah.
to throw my board down and just I didn't even make it 2 inches.
You
Like
know
no
what?
joke. I must have thrown it straight onto the rock.
You know what? It's when you want your life to play out like a comic book, but then it plays like a comic strip.
Yeah,
You know?
totally. Yeah, I thought I was getting the elevator.
Right.
Got the shaft.
I'm not as good as I used to be because I'm just older, but I can't not like give advice to kids because
Yeah.
I mean some of the tricks they're doing, like, dude, I used to do those. I get, and
Well-
and they'll look at me like, oh man, but then like you said, then they're super receptive
Well,
to it. You're
if
like,
I have
okay, cool.
receptive
that's what I
kids,
want. That's
like-
all I want.
I know the physics of skateboarding. I know foot placement. I know what direction you're supposed to pop. Even when it's like a trick I was never that good at, Like, I know how it's supposed to be done. I'm just not physically capable of general application.
I'm gonna send you home with workout stuff.
Yeah, well, dude, I do some of them, but like, dude, I don't even
Yeah.
do the full extensions for my arm right now that I should be doing. But if I get a kid that's receptive, I can help them significantly, you know, and like, I did skate lessons when I was younger through the shop and stuff like that, you know, where we'd teach kids and we did our little skate camps and everything then. But nowadays, if I'm at a park and I just see some kid who's struggling, or if they're good and we have a conversation and I can be like, hey, have you tried this? And if it's something that I can do that I can teach them and they learn, like, if they listen, they'll learn. It's real. Like,
Seriously.
I have some kids at home who are the kids I've been trying to like nurture and like water that seed, who are just, they're not skateboarders. They're trying to skateboard. They enjoy skateboarding, but they aren't mentally skateboarders. So like, they can't roll off the step because they bail off their board they're not willing to fall. They're not willing to bleed or anything. There was a girl, I was skating the South Padre Park a couple years ago when we were living in the camper. There was a young girl there. She's like probably 11, and her little sister and their dad. And the dad's like, he's got his board, but he kind of looked like Steve Cab too, which is funny, but he doesn't skate really. He's just there to, his daughters want to. Cool family. And she was trying to learn rock and rolls. And it's like, that's almost where I'm like, I tee up, you know, I was like, I got this. This is the one
Pops,
thing.
let me get this.
There's a few tricks that I just know the like exact words to say. It's the same with fly fishing. You teach someone to cast. There's certain things you say where it's like, you're casting your line, not your fly. Don't worry about the fly, worry about the line. Sometimes that makes people just understand it. And when you start talking about just your shoulders, you're too worried about your lower body. You need to worry about your shoulders for this trick and start talking about it. And I'll go and do a few rock and rolls or whatever and show them, whether it be front side or back side. So she learned her rock and rolls, and then she learned to do the little cab, kick turn, fakey kick turn rocks. I don't want to call them cab because they're not popped. And then the full cab ones where you have like the rock in the middle. She learns all these things back to back because she's just willing to listen. It's like, this girl's going to be so very good at skateboarding, you know.
When you can actually listen,
you just got to show them that first stare, that first step, and then they just take
she
off.
Rips now too.
That's
like, I keep up with her. It's funny. Like, I wanted to send her some stuff recently because she's killing it, and so. But she's a kid still. She's probably like 14. It's been a couple of years, but I'll message her and be like, "Have your dad message me," you know, because you don't want to be like,
right,
you know,
no, totally.
But she still does some of the stuff I taught her. Like, she's just doing it in stuff that's 7 or 8 foot steep.
She's
better.
Yeah, I don't even. She's probably learned 4 tricks in the past 2 years. She's got them all so solid. She'll post her like kick flipping an 8 stair or whatever, and she's board sliding handrails and stuff. But she can only do board slides and lip slides. Like, so she's got all her tricks. Her trick bag's small. They're all so.
But once she gets
good,
into like truck tricks, like truck,
she gonna if this girl continues to do what she's doing, she will be a household name. And I mean it, like, dude, there's so many good girl skateboarders now. For sure. But, like, she's young. She's still wearing pads and a helmet and stuff like that. But, like, she is going to be so good. And if she would just take those pads and a helmet off now, Instagram would gas her up. But she doesn't need to do that yet. She needs to keep doing what she's doing. Because she's already, like, there's a bowl in Brownsville, Texas that has, like, this little shell that's oververted. It's gnarly. It is seriously gnarly. I've like, skated that bowl some, and I'm not a great skateboarder, but like, I would not want to stand up on that coping. And she's like, I felt uncomfortable just carving up close to it. And she's like doing like long 50-50s over it, and she's doing like backside airs in the bowl and stuff. Oh, geez. She rips, dude. And she will be super good.
There's a lot of opportunity for
it's funny
young girls.
She's in Brownsville, Texas, it's like a Russellville in South Texas, right on the border. Her like main sponsor is like a dental company. I wish I could get that.
No doubt.
That's funny. I want a dental company.
If Spitfire called me tomorrow and a dentist called me tomorrow, I'm choosing the dentist.
I'm taking the dentist. Yeah.
I'll keep buying wheels.
That's right.
Totally. Yeah, wheels are $36. Well, I guess wheels are like $50 now, but everything
everything is more expensive.
Dude, stopped at the gas station on the way here, and I was like, I was in a bad mood today. I was like, I got to go talk on a podcast, so I got to drink caffeine, alcohol, and have some candy. So I get sugar, get caffeine, like get alcohol. Those are my moves. So I go in there and I never buy candy. I was looking, it's like a bag of Skittles is $3.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, dude, you can't go get a candy bar because I buy candy all the time for the kiddo, but you can't get it cheap. There's no. We buy Kinder eggs because I think they're $2.
Dude, I went
Come
up
on, a toy.
to the
Like-
front, like, I'll buy beer. I don't ever pay attention to the price of beer, but like because of the candy, I went and noted the price of beer, and I was like, shit, man, it's expensive to be alive.
What is this world coming to?
Well, yeah, and it's like, I mean, how much do wheels cost now? They're probably $50, right? I mean, I don't know. I bought some. I skate cherries lately.
Yeah,
Are you
cherries.
familiar?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carlos. So that girl, Kat, who owns
yeah.
it, her husband Carlos is a tattooer. And
okay, gotcha.
And so it's the same where it's like supporting those who support
They're
you.
kinda like in your world.
If you're in my
Yeah.
family, like if and I don't even know them. Like I've talked to Carlos some and stuff, but he's a good tattooer, and so
Cool.
like anything that a tattooer does that's not tattooing, I want to support because so very few of us ever step out.
Right.
So like you can
right.
make decent money, you just
We've
keep
talked
your head
before
down.
about them. So they do the wheels. Is that also their cannabis company?
Oh, I
Because
don't.
there's a cherry, and they look. The
No,
logos
I don't
look the
think
exact same.
I don't know anything about the cannabis
And it's like-
company.
Are they not affiliated or?
I don't know. I couldn't even speak to it. I don't
Okay.
really know
Okay.
them very well, other than that.
We've always wondered that because I'm like, I've gone after them a couple times.
Well, yeah,
hit
it's
them
a
up and
it's
yeah.
a woman-owned skateboard wheel company, and the guy who does the art's a tattooer. I think he does.
Yeah.
that
Sean
at least.
Hell's involved with them a little bit too.
Oh, really?
He was riding some cherries.
Okay.
He did some.
I could see him
videos
doing that
for
just
him.
because he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
like Sean's
for the cool
There's
guy.
some him and some other dudes are skating a pool and.
I just saw a picture of him 2 days ago. I was in Little Rock. I was skating with like Todd and Will and the Little Rock crew and Jake and them. Whole nother. I got a story about that. That was cool.
Oh,
Made me feel
yeah.
like a really cool adult.
That's cool.
Jake did.
like
Sweet
that.
human.
Yeah, they let me hang out one time.
Well,
too.
dude, yeah. Well, I don't know Jake. He was younger, I guess, and I thought he was from out of town and just moved there once I left. And I've only seen him as an adult as a skateboarder,
Right.
and he is so good at skateboarding.
He's just
so good.
really good.
Dude,
Yeah.
he did the hospital edge at the health department. He did a backtail kickflip out, and the kickflip's like super slow. That
Yeah.
ledge is actually really hard to skate.
yeah.
And like at my prime, I 5-0'd it and was like scared the entire. I thought, I mean, you could get broke off. I've watched people,
And
get
you're like,
really
that was
hurt.
my pro trick.
Yeah, and like I would have never even tried to backtail it, and because I've never been,
Let
good at
alone
them.
flip out.
But he did this kick flip out that was like a slow, beautiful flip. So I watched
Yeah.
it. I was like, "Who is this guy?" Whatever. And the other day I went to Little Rock to skate with Todd. Todd, I've known him forever, and we started skating in Little Rock. I was like the connect there, so he would
Gotcha.
come stay with me, and we'd
Best
go skate
dude.
and stuff. We were
Yep.
like 17, 18. So I introduced myself to Jake. I'm like, "Hey man, I don't think we've ever met in person. I'm Drew." He's like, "Actually, I used to come in to enjoy when I first started that with Daniel."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, I came with Caleb Collins. I remember Caleb. He was like a young black guy. He would try. I already know the tricks he would try, but I didn't remember Jake." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So we're all skating, and we get to this little curb that's by a Jersey barrier we're going to skate. And we're just goofing around on the curb trying to get our legs to work. It takes me 20 minutes before I can ollie nowadays. I have to do like shove-its and no complies and all that stuff before I can really pop.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to start
Some quick
slamming my
yoga.
body
Yeah.
up a steep Jersey barrier until I had gotten like worked out. And because I was recently trying big spin front noses with that kid Jagger, I was just doing big spin front noses on the curb. If I don't have to pop them, I can get into them every time. And we're not sliding them. I'm just 270 in, try to kick turn out or whatever. And Jake comes by and does one. And Will's like, "Jake's got that trick so good." I was like, "Whoa, no way." And he's like, "You actually taught me those."
You're like, what?
And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you taught me at Riverview." And it was a moment that like, I didn't know I'd ever met him because he was a young kid then.
Yeah.
When I was the older guy at the
You,
park
like,
who
made
was
the connection.
probably decent at skateboarding at the time, who was teaching him something.
Yeah.
And now he is so much better than I've ever had the chance to be. And I was just like, it was one of those moments where like, man, I almost cried. Like standing out there is like,
Because it was just kind of like a beautiful moment in life.
yeah, well, you spend
that-
all this time like
Yeah.
trying to give back to something.
Yeah,
that,
and you never know. You never know if like we're talking about like giving helpful advice. You never know if it's actually doing anything.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I always say that
Yeah.
you
It's a
know,
reward for
you
you.
plant a seed, you water the seed, but I left Little Rock.
Yeah, you don't.
I never
see
saw it grow, and so it's like I came back and I see this big, strong tree essentially, and it's like there's a nice tree, and it's like
You're like, oh,
you might have been one of the guys who played in the seed, and like
yep.
I ended up like having a visual of him from those days,
Like you-
getting
you remember
yeah,
it.
it
and
took
then
me,
it started to connect.
but
yeah,
I had no idea, man.
Yeah.
It was. Really,
Yeah,
really
that's cool.
I used
really
to work
cool.
at the skate station on side. I picked Saturday morning. I wanted to do lessons, and then I wanted to work until like 4 or 5, and then everybody would come to town. And I could skate. But years later, I'm married, walking around town. People are like, "Hey, you're Brad, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, I was like this big when I used to know you." And it happened all the time for a long time, and I always maybe, oh yeah,
Yeah,
That always
dude, it
made me
makes you feel like
great.
$1 million, and it's crazy because like very rarely do you see someone who just goes on to be that skilled. He's one of the best skateboarders that's come out of Arkansas. He's still in Arkansas, but like he's up there. He's incredible.
He is, and I mean, like, you know, props to Will for showcasing
Dude,
everybody there.
I had so much
absolutely.
fun going down there. Nick
Yeah.
took me, and I'm older, much older than those dudes, and I didn't do much. We got to skate 30 ramp. I'm stoked on that. But then I was like, some of the Fayetteville kids are down there, and they're like, "You're going street skating with us tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't-
you
why
really
not?
roam.
I didn't
Yeah,
pull
when
up.
in
And it was
Rome.
like,
Yeah.
what was funny was like it's been a long time since I used to go street skating in Little Rock, and they didn't really take me anywhere new. It was all the same
It was
spots.
all the same spots.
And I
They
told
took
them, I
me-
said,
Yeah.
I do appreciate it. It was so nostalgic for me. I was like, this rules. As long as I'm down here, just in this atmosphere. It reminded me of being when I was 17, 18.
They
year old
took
kid.
me the other day to the worst spot. I was like, guys, I seriously haven't street skated in like years.
So let's go to a chill
all
spot.
my street skating in Russellville, it doesn't happen. I feel obligated to be at the park. It's like I got places I want to skate, but I really only got maybe 2 hours in me a day of my legs working, and so it's like I'm going to go to the park and do this. And try to like gas up my few kids that are there. So I'm like, guys, I haven't skated street in seriously probably 4 years, aside from like a few pools. So like, let's go do it. And they took me to the worst spots. And at the end of the day, I'm roasting them. You know, I was like, you know, I haven't skated street. We were eating at Vino's. So it's like I haven't skated street in 4
They
years.
took me
Y'all
there
take me to
too.
these
You take me to
places.
these places?
And they're like, well, you want to go skate this curb at this tattoo shop like a block away? I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
And
that sounds
real.
exactly.
Dude, we had the most fun.
That's what I'm saying.
And we all got like goofy little lines filmed, and like everyone had tricks that were just like first try lines that we filmed that was so fun.
That's cool.
The reason I even started talking about this though is we were talking about Sean Hale.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And we were at Vino's, and we were talking about a kid. His name's Tanner Harvey. He's from Little Rock. He's dead now. He passed away. Who was a great skateboarder. And a lot of the Little Rock kids who graduated like probably like 2007 to 2009 are dead. Like,
Yeah.
I can think of 5 of them. I have a photo of me with 8 kids, and 5 of them are dead.
Whoa.
But so Tanner, you know, he's gone, but he's a great skateboarder. He did like frontside grinds in the deep end of Riverview, which is a gnarly little deep end.
Oh yeah.
And Will was just trying to think of his name. And I was like, you know, he's describing him. He's like, you know, he had shaved head. He wore shorts a lot. He would do blunt to fakies. And I thought he was talking about this kid, Evan Wilkinson, or we used to call him Protein Shake. He full cabbed second layer of, or back 180 second layer. I think he tried to full cab. I don't know if he ever landed it at Robinson. It's a 9-foot drop.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a big gap.
Huge. Yeah.
Evan was the guy who would do like backflip stale fishes out of the bowl, but he pushed Mongo. But he was incredible to watch skateboard if you never saw him push.
That's Little Rock to me right
But
there.
Tanner gets brought up, and I'm like, I have pictures I have like Facebook private albums from when I was in, you know, so I'm going through them, and I found pictures of Sean Hale skating Canis.
Awesome.
And that's why
That's
I
great.
even started talking about, you know, when we were talking about Sean Hale, it's like, I have pictures of him. You know, he's a really stylish guy now. And I don't know
yeah.
him. I don't know him as an adult or anything like that, you know.
No, but back then he was very
Tight pants, tie-dye shirts.
dude. Totally.
Yeah.
He was
Fallen.
like.
Fallen shoes.
Yeah.
He was basic dude. Basic
Yeah,
skate,
well, he was
skate
from
dude.
Joplin. He
yeah.
was a
Dude,
product of
I used-
Joplin.
He was a
I
product
used-
of Joplin.
Yeah.
That's
I used to go skate
totally it.
with the Walters brothers up
Yeah.
there, and he was
Yeah.
a little kid there, and he always wore a helmet, and I always gave him shit.
Dude.
And we went to KC one time, and I'm old and stupid and hurt feet, and we show up at this contest, and Sean's there killing it. He's
Yeah.
on Vox, and he's like, "Hey, I know you used to make fun of me for not wearing a helmet," and I was like,
That's funny.
"Dude,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's
so good.
But
dude.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I was actually talking. I don't want to say who I was talking to because they work in skateboarding, and I
Yeah.
don't want to call them out.
Call him out for
Call
this.
him out.
But
Yeah.
no, they were talking about like essentially how much your clothing style affects your success as a professional skateboarder now.
Sure.
Because
It's a fashion
brands
show.
want to get
Yep.
behind you if you're fashionable. It's why we have so
damn,
many runway
just,
models.
Yeah, just watch Instagram now. I mean,
And so I
everybody's-
was talking to someone who was like, they're a professional skateboarder, and they're like, well, I'm a jeans and t-shirt skateboarder.
Yep.
And so I'm kind of like limit is to where I can go. And he personally, not knowing I'd ever met him, not knowing I was from the same neck of the woods, brought up Sean Hill.
Oh, really?
And was like, you got to think about that dude. Like,
dude,
no one knew who he was. Then he started wearing unbuttoned T-shirts and dyed his hair. And the next thing you know, he's got pictures next to Tony Hawk and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I mean, he's incredible, super creative skateboarder, but that's not enough anymore.
No,
you got to be stylish.
I mean, I remember the first time that I saw, or that we were talking about Sean Hill skating in Little Rock. I can't remember what it was for, but we went down there, and it was his first time skating Canis. And
it was at the Canis Bash.
It was a Canis Bash.
That's where these pictures were from.
Oh, it was?
I took,
I would love to see that.
Imperial was throwing that Canis Bash, and I ran Imperial at the time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So like the biggest thing I remember is nobody knew who he was, and it was everybody knows that the Canis Bowl is like the worst thing. Yeah. Hardest thing to skate, but it's like the most rewarding in some weird way.
Any touch, if you touch the top of it, then you did something.
You had a good day.
Yeah.
So everybody was just confused by this dude because they didn't know what he was like. It was confusing to watch.
He shows up and he's wearing a tie-dye shirt, tight-ass jeans,
and backwards hat,
and he looks like just your average guy from like Cabot, Arkansas, who thinks that skateboarding should be this.
Yeah,
and then he's doing backside melons in the deep end of Canis Bowl every try.
No, dude,
as part of his line.
Yep.
And all the older dudes who have been skating that bowl their entire life, who are like, Little Rock breeds the worst mentality for older skateboarders because all those guys they never went to college, they never went and did anything. They worked construction so they could skateboard.
Sure.
And then out of nowhere, their life kind of got behind them, and they just been working construction forever
the whole time.
And the only place they ever got treated with respect was the skate park.
Sure.
So like their job, their boss might give them a little respect, but they don't talk to them like they're a man. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So those guys come to the skate park and they are mentally abusive. And so to have a kid who looks like that, who is the exact aesthetic of the kids that they give the hardest time,
and then they just come in and he's
backsmithing around the deep end in there,
literally in their face.
And so I have pictures from there from that day.
So
Binger was there too. Binger was doing frontside airs, and Sean Hill would do backside airs,
backside melon,
and it was like.
And I think he also I remember him back nose blending the deep.
He did. I have a photo.
And this was what was so crazy to me.
He kept doing it too.
He pushed on the flat bottom.
That's right.
To do it. Yeah. And everyone was like,
"What the hell?"
Well, it's crazy because you have someone on occasion, very rare occasion, who is so good that no matter what they do,
it don't matter.
It's like you can try to hate on it,
it's just
but like
so
essentially
good.
You're pushing on flat to try to hate on it. You know what I mean? It's like he pushed, but he's trying to do a back nose blunt, and you can't get that speed.
Nope.
You can get up on a stand up grind, but a back nose blunt, you got to float that up there.
And there's no speed of that thing, and if you don't skate there all the freaking time, you don't know every little intricate.
You need to know every
get speed.
It's different. It's not like a normal bowl that you need to know what pocket's quicker. You need to know where there's not a hole in the ground.
That's right. A lump or like
or when the paint is built up and it's like chipped areas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's 20 different layers of paint on there, and it looks like a topographical map. It's crazy. Yeah, that day. It's cool that you were there. That was the day that fight broke out with the band.
Yes,
that video was online for.
Yeah, the dude got naked, and they're like,
he showed his. Yeah, he pulled his skirt up. He was wearing a dress. He pulled it up. The band was called the STDs.
STDs.
There was another band from Russellville actually that was called like Four Knuckle Shuffle. I think I only know this from the years later of hearing about this story. I was in that. I was a big part of that fight, and I was in that video. I'm not a tough dude. I want to state I'm not. I don't like fighting. I
have a lot of tattoos.
I don't ever want to fight anyone. Like I don't even like altercations. I'm very good at standing my ground though, because I do believe you should treat people a certain way. Yeah. But if I get knocked out, then it's my own fault usually because I could have been stood out of the way. But I'm never an instigator ever. And that day, homie lifted his dress up, showed his window. There's kids there. So that's what started the fight was actually Kent getting in his face.
Kent was the one that stopped. He was trying to tell him to stop.
But it fizzled down, and then they're drinking and dancing around, like playing music, and the guy picks up a cooler and throws it and hits this guy, Alan Taylor Pee-wee. Hit him in the leg. He was coming off ACL surgery.
Yeah, hit Pee-wee.
Yep. And so, I shouldn't even call him that, but like,
I know.
No,
but I will because
I
like.
think it.
But he never liked.
I think
he never liked being called Pee Wee, but he was called that from when he was
Sure.
a kid. He deserved the name when he got it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just grew up. But it hit him in the leg, and then that started the fight. And the whole thing was
hit the
on
hardcore locals.
It was on YouTube. It was all on YouTube, and it started with Kent getting in this guy's face from the Russellville band. He's this real buff punk rocker, and Kent's at eye level with the guy's nose.
I
and
remember
Kent
that.
looks over to the side and says something and leans his head back, and boom, headbutts
And
him.
headbutts him.
Dude's nose splits open, and then
Dude,
the whole fight broke
I was
out.
standing right there. Yep.
There, you could see me in that video. So the lead singer of that band, I hit him in the head with my skateboard, but it was like truck in each hand. It wasn't like swung. It was like one of those punch
grip tape
ones.
side.
Grip tape side, and it's filmed like Blair Witch Project because it was like one of the
I love
punk
it.
rockers bands like
love it.
girlfriends filmed it, and then it comes
the perfect
back
filmer.
over into frame, and you see little Colton kicking the dude, and I'm rubbing my grip tape on his face, and we're like trying to like. We're also the younger kids, and these abusive, mean older men. It's like, here's your chance to be, one of the crew.
Yeah.
Jumping you in the
Jump
game.
in. You got jumped in.
And after that, like Little Rock skateboarding, I again, dude, like I do not like tough guy talk. I don't like any of that. I know that I'm not a tough man. I know real prison tough men who will tear your eyeball out and fucking stomp on it in front of you. Mm-hmm. And like, I have nothing. I don't want anything to do with that. I want to live a wholesome life. But from that big fight at Canis that day, Little Rock's skate scene came together like butt cheeks, dude.
No joke.
It was
tightened up and got tough.
It was like you go to the park the next day. You go to Riverview again, which there's always this weird divide between like the street skaters, the young kids, the old guys. That day brought us together, and we all stayed together.
I think so.
I see it that way. I can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I even think that helped a little bit of like the Northwest Arkansas like satellite bond that we had with Little Rock.
It tightens the skate
it seriously
state
tightened it up.
It would. There was 3 fights in a row. And it was like some rollerbladers who had gotten Sleazy Steve had punched out this rollerblader for waxing the coping.
Sounds right.
And they beat up Tanner Harvey, who I was talking about, passed away. Mm-hmm. They beat him up at a house party, and the whole crew got called. Everyone showed up and ripped through this house and beat up all these rollerbladers. Wow. The next week, it's the punk rockers, and then there were some BMXers. Nowadays, like I have a crazy.
Everybody's getting beat up.
Well, I have a lot of respect for BMXers because those guys like. They do the most dangerous thing. Like we like to think about it, but we can kick our boards away. Like those dudes are falling on pegs and shit.
As somebody who rides bikes and falls on bikes, it hurts.
It's brutal.
It hurts. Yeah.
But growing up in Little Rock, you had beef with BMXers. You had beef with anyone who wasn't a skateboarder. I think it was also the time frame. I don't think it was just Little Rock. I think
it was a little bit of the time
in the
frame.
90s, early 90s. I remember I'd go down there, and one time we went down there. I used to hang out with this guy. I lived in Pine Bluff. We'd come up, and I knew Brock and some other guys, and they called us. We had pagers. Come up. They kicked such and such's ass. We're going to find him at Alsop Park tonight. Yeah. I was like, all right, let's go. And we show up, and it's like all the punkers and all the skaters are there. And I'm like, oh.
And it would be a 20
Side
on
Story.
20 brawl.
It was. And that's what happened. And those dudes got destroyed. But I remember, who was it? Dang it, who was in the lead? It was Bill McMullen.
Yeah.
He's like, he's in the front. And I'm like, we're not stopping. We're not talking trash. He just walks up, and the dude says something. And Bill's like, you're first. Bam!
Yeah,
and then it's just all the skateboarders and punk
Bill's
attacked.
a legend.
And all those dudes ran, and one dude stayed. And I just remember everybody was like beating on this guy. I had some like brass knuckles, and I just hit him in the back.
Yeah.
And that was
You're
all
like,
I got.
I did the thing. I got to go.
I fought.
Someone maced him in the face, and I was like,
You got to think.
damn, I'm ready to go home.
It's
This
crazy
is hard,
that me
man.
now, like me then, and be like, like, to hell with this guy. He's, screw his whole crew. We're going to take it out on him. Nowadays, I'd be like, man, you guys, let's just, you punched him. Let's shake his hand. He stayed. They all ran. He's one of
the
us.
honorable one.
He's one of us.
He's the honorable
we need
one
to
now.
take him in instead of whooping his ass.
I
Like,
definitely wouldn't do that nowadays because it's like, man, we could have killed that guy.
Exactly.
20 people just taking shots. You just don't know, man.
Well, I mean, I think it's just like it's when you're older, you don't look at every situation as like it's a gang fight now. I mean, there was a time we were at the Springdale Park, and it was me. I think it was me and Jamie Hogue and maybe Johnny. I can't remember, but like we were just standing on the deck, and I want to say like 40 preteens
Damn.
That's a hard
Just
one.
start
hard,
walking up, and we're like,
they ain't trying to hear nothing.
and we're in the Springdale Park is like gated in.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
can't go
fenced in.
anywhere.
So you're like, bro, if are we getting out, or how are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
You know.
It's the
Happened to me
preteen
to Tulsa
thing
a
is
couple weeks
actually
ago.
a thing that I'm dealing with now.
Oh,
in
really?
Russellville, because we have these kids who are under the age of 18 who are being total like turds, and one of them has a skateboard, so
They-
5 of them show
Oh,
up to the
They
park.
need
right.
skateboarding.
Well,
That's exactly why
but
they
no,
need
these
it
aren't
to an ex-
skateboarders. These
That's
are,
what I'm
these
saying.
are these are like these
They
kids.
have a skateboard.
They need
but
to
they're-
find the insane clown posse and stay away
And
from the
stay-
skate park. Like, there's probably some
Go to the
juggalos out there
gathering.
who shred, and I don't want to like give those dudes a hard time.
I
shouldn't
would say
even.
it's a small percentage,
think-
but
I
yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
classify them because I knew some juggalos who did some pressure flips. You know,
You're damn right.
That
you
was
know?
their trick.
That's
like
interesting,
sipping
right?
Fago
Why did
doing
they do
pressure
that?
flips.
Skateboarding's so good for the teens,
But
man. and
these
just the
kids
angst, and they don't
are
have anywhere
not.
to.
They're not. They're like they're chubby preppy dudes. One of them has a beat up old board. They hang out there. They like try
Talk
to kick
shit.
over trash cans. They go to Kroger and steal a cart, try to push
like
in the
that.
bowl. when I
yeah.
tell them not to do something, there's only one of them that's like, we don't have to listen to you. It's like, look, kid, you may be 16 now, and you should listen to me now, because if you don't, you better never turn 18. You know? But of course, I hope they don't listen to this. They're not skateboarders, so they probably won't, because then they'll find out I'm not actually tough. I'm not that serious.
You just told him.
I'm just playing it on TV. I'm like, when you turn 18, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna be sweet to you then.
I
too.
heard on the podcast you said you're not a fighter, so
Yeah,
But at the same time, you're trying to tell them just skate.
Well,
dude.
also
Just
respect the
skate.
park, because
Sure.
I'm trying to get it added on to. Like, there's a porta potty there now. We don't have a public restroom. I've been meeting with our mayor once a month for like the last 10, maybe 11 months to like try to get the park built. So I've done the feasibility study. I did the park's design, because companies don't do a design until they have
The
money
bid,
from
the
you.
bid, yeah.
And the city can't get.
They can't visualize it.
Well, they have to have the design to get the bid. So there's this chicken or the egg situation, and I'm the mediator.
Yep.
So I did like a basic layout just to have something, but I'm really involved in trying to get this park added onto. I've done every bit of footwork.
and this is the Russellville Park.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
And the building that's there is not a bathroom, and we don't have a bathroom. So I'm trying to get a bathroom. And there was a competition there recently that Arkansas Crown does,
Yeah.
and they happen to be the same like 20 years of Walker Day or whatever. So no one from here
that was
came.
exactly what happened. Yeah,
But there was a good turnout. Well, I paid for a porta potty to be put there for the day,
Okay.
for like the weekend, so that we could have a bathroom
sure.
there. And I invited the mayor to come by, and he did.
great
He's
idea.
awesome. He's a really
idea.
good dude, and he came
Cool.
by, and he's like, we're talking about the porta potty. It's like, well, I paid for it to be up here. And I was like, we need to have that there. It's important.
Damn, you're
And-
blowing minds, and that's
And
town,
he
dude.
he went
Yeah.
and he got a porta potty there while we're waiting on the bathroom to be done. I've got the bathroom budget figured out. We've put it on the
oh, so
walking
you're
trail
saying the porta potty is going to stay there
until the bathroom's there, but now
Gotcha.
we have a porta potty. It's not the one I paid for. They had like another one come and brought in.
Yep.
But like, I don't even know. He's such a good mayor. He's the type of guy to pay for it out of pocket just so it's there.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
But he was talking to me about like, we're getting this bathroom done soon. We're just going to leave that up there through the winter till it gets done. Cool. Well, these little kids I'm talking about, they're not little. They're like 16. The other day, they're trying to push the porta potty over.
Great.
You're like, that
Yeah. Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
like, this took me 10 months to get this so that you don't have to go to Kroger to use the bathroom, and you're not even a skateboarder.
Yeah.
If you were a little skateboarder here, you would listen to me because you would respect me.
Yeah, you wouldn't be doing
because
that.
I
Well-
can still do what you're trying to do better than you.
you would understand why
Or
that
just-
porta potty
or
is supposed
just-
to be there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like these kids are just terrible, and there's nothing. They're like, someone needs to beat them up, or something.
Somebody younger.
But someone younger, but not over 18. I need, but there's no enforcers.
I don't know if we can,
you know,
I
like,
don't know if we can advocate for
yeah,
for hate
violence, like Gnarkansas
Man, I-
we
podcast.
might get booted.
But
I used to be quite the enforcer, but
yeah, but
I'm
there
just
was
not
always
anymore.
a skate park enforcer
Sure.
that kept you from getting out of line. Like you wouldn't be
I
in the
hate-
skate park
but,
throwing bottles into the bowl.
Brad being one of them, like Kent was another
Kent,
one.
yeah,
you know?
Kent.
Yeah.
And well,
Some kid almost got killed at the last Canis.
I don't want to
bash
speak
'cause he
highly.
Spray painted that new pool coat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't want to speak highly of Steve, and Steve's gone now too, so I
Sure.
don't want to speak negative about him.
Sure.
it's
but-
hard. It's hard to. Yeah.
Well,
that's
it's hard to
what
say.
both of-
Yeah. I mean,
Cool guy,
either,
but
to be
yeah.
honest,
No, I
yeah.
mean, I got nothing good to say. I got nothing. I'm not gonna say anything bad.
Bad. Yeah.
I was in Portland when he died. I saw it on the news.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know it was him. It was on the news. I was there. That's when we were broke down at my friend's house.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the week that Sleazy Steve
What the
died.
heck, dude? That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
so
wild.
I saw that. He was always a regulator, and he didn't care how old you were.
That's right.
He would punch a woman holding a baby if she was spray painting the coping.
That's right.
Like,
Yep, 100%.
he never
Yep.
cared. And I don't want to credit it, but people didn't get out of line.
Not if Steve was
because
around.
of people
If
like him.
Steve is there. Yeah.
And so now I have way too much to lose, and I'm not a tough guy. But like, so I don't want to regulate on these kids, and I'm not going to call the police either. But like, I wish that there was a level of, if there's not respect through skateboarding, I wish there was a level of like, don't mess around here. But the only skateboarder we have is 14 years old and weighs like 80 pounds. Other than me.
I start saying, if somebody did that at our park, I would just go over and go, hey, and I'd talk to some 16 or 17-year-old and go, that dude's a jerk.
Yeah.
It's just tell him he's a jerk.
Go regulate him, dude.
There was like a kid on a scooter there one day.
Sick somebody on him.
Some like scooter ripper kid was there, and these kids showed up and they like threw his AirPod case on top of that little house, and stuff. And then none of them would own up to it. It's like, you guys are just little busters. Skate parks are for skateboarding. Scooter kids can be here. BMX kids can be
I used to
here. Anyone
run
who
people
can,
off.
yeah.
If they weren't skating or something, if you're not down here riding, get out.
Yeah.
That's
right.
what the rules said at Walker in the beginning.
That's what it
I kicked
should.
numerous people out that were being jerks, just down there being an asshole. There was a girl one day, I rubbed dirt in her hair. She wouldn't take off. She was a minor. She was being so mean to, like, little kids like Jagger were down there. They were like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
And she thought she was cool. She had all her tight clothes on and just being lame and mean. And I was like, I can be a smart ass too. So I started in on her and I was like, you know what? She's not going to leave. She thinks she's cool. So I went over there and her hair was all did up. She couldn't have been 15, and I just rubbed dirt in her hair. I said, I think it's time to leave.
I think it's time.
Man,
to leave.
I like. I don't.
Had to be the asshole.
I
Yeah,
really
sure.
don't know how to approach it. I think that eventually it will regulate. I think what I need to do is just start heckling them.
That's what I do.
Into
Yeah,
trying,
yeah.
because one of them does have a skateboard.
Oh, to like try
And
tricks.
I need to call them out
Call 'em
and
out.
like and be like, you guys are cowards. You won't even roll in on this little roll in or whatever until they try.
Yeah,
it.
I will.
So one of them breaks their arm or something, and then they never come back, or they do it
And they're
and they turn into a skater.
and they're like, oh, I've been acting like an idiot up here. That was fun. Or
Yeah.
I was scared and I'm still alive. Like,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Which is what that forms them into a skater.
Well,
so
particularly that roll in at that park, too, because you just like, that park's weird, man, and you just always feel like you're going to die until
That
you
is
know how
true.
to
I
skate
always
it.
say
That is
there's
true.
nothing like straightening out an attitude by having them go out and beat themselves up.
Yeah.
Because that's like,
But-
I never needed to fight in school. It's like, dude, I go fight my skateboard every day.
Yeah, I was
don't-
listening to.
I want to fight more than
I
that.
listened to Nines Club the other day. Darren Neverett's Nines Club.
Yeah.
I need
and
to check that one for
he-
sure.
He's hard to follow because he's mentally he's all over the place.
He
Very
is.
high energy, but he has a moment where he's talking about it. Where he's like, I used to be scared to get punched in the face, and I realized how stupid I was because I punch myself in the face every day on a skateboard.
That's right.
He's like, I go out and I give my entire body to something, and then I'm mad that someone's gonna slap me at the bar or something. It's like,
That's nothing.
I'll headbutt their fist, you know, like that's. And I heard him say it the other day, and it registered so much with me from when I was younger, where it's like, you know, I always shied away from confrontation, and like, I would always stand my ground to an extent, but like, I've never been interested in being like that kind of person, you know. There was always people like Steve for that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And but I would go out on my skateboard and like get really, really hurt, and that would be fun. I would take more hits than I would take in a fight, and then go back the next day and do it again, you know, and like happily.
Yep.
I like understand why guys want to do jiu-jitsu and they want to do that stuff because like they feel alive, not because they live for pain. As a skateboarder, I never wanted to get hurt, but like you got to pay to play. When I tore my UCL a few months ago, it was like I go home. My wife is.
You knew what you were doing.
I have a really supportive wife, and she's the best. But she loves to question me and tell me things like, "Well, you're getting to the age you need to start wearing pads." You know, it's like you fall down when you're walking. I don't tell you to wear pads everywhere you go. You know, like let me do my thing.
I tell the story. My dad broke his knee getting up to go to the microwave.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, the year before,
Should have been going to microwave.
Shouldn't have been going to the microwave like that.
should have worn a helmet.
Yeah.
I broke my hand getting my kayak off my car.
Yeah.
I have an FJ like you do, and I have a 100-pound kayak, and I was going to the airport that morning, and I had to get up like 4 a.m. to leave. I was flying out of X&A at like 7:30 from Russellville, you know. So my kayak's on top of my car. I go to move it, drop it, try to catch it,
of course,
break my hand, tear my IF band.
Dang, dude. Jeez.
And I would much rather have done that skateboarding. So when people say,
I'm that way too.
How'd you break your hand?
Yeah.
Skating.
Yeah.
But if I said I did it skateboarding, my wife would have been like, "You need to be wearing a wrist brace."
Yeah.
And if it's like you moving your boat, what can you say?
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Ralphie from Christmas Story, where it's an icicle fell in my eye.
You had to BS it a little bit.
Yeah.
But so as an adult though, even now when I get hurt like that, when I tore my UCL, I go home, my arm swelled up so big, and I had to go home and ice it immediately. And we had a friend from Colorado Springs staying with us also, and they're like both kind of giving me like the side eye about how I need to be taking better care of myself. And it's like, you got to pay to play.
That's right.
You have to play. Let me knock on. Is this wood?
Yes. Wood. Oh yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, you ought to probably do this too. Or y'all gonna be paying to play next time that you go skate.
That is the life lesson of skateboarding.
Yeah, you need to knock on this. Yeah.
Knock.
All right, cool. I just don't want to jinx any of us.
I was hiking by myself a couple weekends ago. I was just scoping some stuff out for some future hardcore stuff. And I tell myself, don't go off trail, you know, while you're by yourself. And I did, and my foot slid into a rock just a little bit. And I was like, no biggie. Go back on trail, and I take 3 steps. I'm like, what? What is going on here? Totally jammed the shit out of that toe.
Yeah.
It turned purple.
Bit the toenail up.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what? It was nothing. Yeah. But it's always, you got to pay to play.
You got to pay to play.
But it's like, I had to hike all the way back out this big hill, and I was like, I don't care.
Well,
I've done this a million times.
It hurts to be alive, though.
That's
you
right.
know? And if you're not out there playing, it's going to hurt even more. And so I think that's just a big part of it.
No, I mean, like, you know,
same thing happens if you sit around and do nothing. Your body deteriorates. And becomes
I don't
junk.
want to cut this off, but I have to go use the bathroom.
Yeah, no, hit.
I'll be right back.
All right, get it. Well, yeah, while you're European. I'm
Eurasia.
That was like the thing that I think I don't feel worried about, like going and trying anything, because I know that if I don't actually go and like push myself at all, like I would just, like you said, we were saying, sit at home. Like you would just be sitting at home.
About yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and also like my dad breaking his knee, just like going to the microwave. Like I could be at home and I mean, I don't use the microwave, but like, you know, I could be getting up to go to the refrigerator and twist my knee, and
I've thrown my back out in the middle of the night, sleeping in the bed.
Yeah. Well, and so like, I mean,
you don't know,
what's living at that point, you know? I mean, you could be living and just like sitting on a couch, or you could be living and shredding something. So
I used to, like we was talking about, I used to skate. I'd run into dudes that I knew, and they'd be like, well, you know, I remember I got that one time I got really hurt, and I just quit after that. And I was like, yeah, I had the same injury, or I had 5 of those.
Mm-hmm.
I had, well, what do you mean?
Well, I broke my left arm 4 times.
Yeah, the first time you break something or have a tear, you're done. Like, I guess it's just different mindset sometimes, but
well,
I always thought it was weird when dudes get hurt and they just quit. Like, that's it. I don't know.
Well, we were talking about when we were talking about you know, like if you break something, you have to, like, what's the first thought? And like sometimes like that first thought is when am I going to get to skate again?
Yeah.
My brain always goes 6 weeks.
That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be.
But then you get hurt now, and you're like, oh shit, am I gonna be able to work tomorrow?
You're like, dude, I was totally gonna go out and do that 8 set next week, and now I can't.
I have this moment as an adult whenever anything happens to my body that makes me feel hurt or anything, that my brain says, what if this is forever?
What if this is forever? Yeah.
Yeah. And did you do some damage?
Yeah. Like now, I have a giant dent in my arm. It's not giant, but I have a noticeable dent in my arm that will likely be there forever.
Oh, yeah.
And
some of those scars.
Yeah, and that's the first time that I've had one like this, from like a ligament and muscle tear where my muscle moved up and everything, and like my ulnar nerve is on the outside of where it should be, so like it pops if I'm trying to row and do weight like that.
Yeah.
You can feel it, and like it's forever damage. Forever damage is scary. And to this morning, I had like a real malfunction this morning.
Oh, no.
A body malfunction. I helped a friend move 2 nights ago, and it was very dusty. and I got super congested in his place. I was like, dude, I'm allergic to something here. Something's going on.
Yeah, it's like really hitting you.
And for the next, like yesterday, I was really congested. This morning, I was really congested. It's like, there's dust like all in my nose. I got to get this out. My wife gave me like some nose douche thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to do it, and I guess I wasn't squeezing it hard enough. She's like, well, I do it kind of aggressively. So I really did it. And then there was water in my ears. Like I could feel moisture in my ears.
Oh, you could feel and
so
hear it.
I was like, I like blew so hard that there's water in my ears. She's like, well, we'll put some rubbing alcohol in your ears to dry it out. And she put rubbing alcohol in my ear, and my like equilibrium got messed up, and I got really dizzy. The room started spinning like I was drunk.
I have been there.
My first time.
Damn ear
today.
drums.
I've been
today.
there. Oh,
this
was today.
This was this morning.
Yep.
This is the first
Yep.
time this has ever happened to me, and it didn't stop immediately.
Yep.
And it was like I was drunk. Like the room was spinning. And I just had this moment where I was like, oh no, this is my new life.
This is forever.
That's adulting right there.
This is who I am now.
I'm screwed.
I'm just the spinny room guy. You know, like I'm never gonna tattoo again. I'm never gonna draw again. I'll never skate. I finally get to feeling like pretty normal, and we're getting ready to come up here, and she's like, do you want to take your skateboard? Like, you want to go skate? I was like, I can't do anything. I'm useless. I feel fine now.
I know, but it's like I've done too much today. I'm taking a chance if I do.
Yeah, my nose cleared out today, and I felt normal. My balance came back, but for just a moment. And I have those scares.
It was like life was over.
You were screwed.
Life was over.
Yeah. It's like that moment where
or
like,
life
this
as
is
you know
forever.
it.
I try to be logical when I fall too, and like, you know, you have an injury and you're like, I hyperextended my knee in New York last year. I broke my hand the morning I was leaving for that trip, and then I was skating LES, and I hyperextended my knee. And you have to walk 10 miles a day in that city to do anything.
That's a walking city.
And in my head, I was like, you just did like 2 months worth of damage to me.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And that's how I base it now. It's
it's a
2
time
months,
frame.
you know?
It
And
is.
I got home from that trip. It really only hurt for like, you know, maybe 2 weeks, and then it bounced back to normal. So I started skating again too soon, hyperextended again at Russellville Park, doing something so dumb, just like a goofy little trick. And then that one was 4 months of recovery. I couldn't even let a fish go. Like I couldn't squat for 4 months. I couldn't squat down or do anything.
Jeez.
And it's like, that's just part of it. You just do. And my, you know, the older you get, and I also weigh 220 pounds, like a little thick, you know, I need to sort that out.
Yeah.
Fall a lot harder.
You fall harder when you weigh more.
I had
That's
big
for sure.
knee surgery one time, and they were like, no weight bearing for like 8 weeks. I was like, cool, I'm on the couch, I've got video games, I'm there.
Yeah.
Well, then
6 days later,
I got the muscle atrophy. I was like, oh my God. I was freaked out, dude.
Yeah.
Like my thigh just turned into nothing, and I was like, this is not good. This is not what I signed up for. I thought, like you said,
this was the way you're going to live.
I'm going to be limping. I'm going to have a fat leg and a crappy leg. And then I got better, and I started doing workouts, and I was like, it all came back, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Man. But I think just that surgery right there told me how resilient that my body actually is. Mm-hmm. Because it took a while to heal from that one, like 5 years probably.
I'm like, I understand, but I also am on the opposite, where I'm like, all this stuff just points out how fragile I am.
Yeah,
you know?
no, the older you get, you're like, dude, it could a little slip here.
I also did tear my UCL when I was younger. It's my second time, and I should tell this story actually, and I should note that it's like past statute of limitations. So like what I'm going to say is something I would have never said on a podcast before.
Right.
I got a job at Walmart Neighborhood Market in Sherwood when I was 17, and I was in high school still. And I was skipping school every day and going to the Jacksonville Park and skating the mini ramp every morning, like my first 2 periods.
On the base?
No, Jacksonville. So the Jacksonville Air Force Base has a different park. They're both art parks, but the one by the community center in Jacksonville. Okay. So I'd go skate the mini ramp every single morning instead of going to class. And one day there was like a good amount of people there. And, you know, when there's a lot of people at a skate park, if you're a decent skateboarder, you can start skating it up. And so instead of just skating the mini ramp, there's a down rail that's flat and a handrail, like the down rail that's round, that all art parks had, you know. And I was trying to 50-50 the rail, and I went over it, and I caught myself, and I tore my UCL. It was my first time it happened. I felt it pop. My arm got super warm. It didn't really swell that much. I left. I went back to school did like the last 2 periods of the day that I liked to do, and then I went to my first day on the job at Walmart because I'd just gotten a job there for training, and I think I had to start at like 4 or something.
Right.
So I go there, and I'm supposed to be on the computer doing training, and the assistant manager is like, we need help in the back unloading a truck. And it's like, well, I'm supposed to be doing this training and filling out all this paperwork. And he's like, well, you can do it later. Come on. So I get up and go to the back to help unload this truck. He's got an electric pallet jack that's like a pusher.
I can already see where this
He
is going.
drops a 3,000-pound pallet on me, like rams me with it. It falls over off the jack and pins me to the wall.
No way.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
They get it off me. It was very scary, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
They have to file an accident report. I come to work the next day. My arm is huge because of my injury.
And they
Yeah.
think they jacked you up.
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. My arm's messed up. And the main manager, who wasn't the one who hit me, is like, well, did you do this skateboarding? And I was like, he hit me with a pallet yesterday. And then they take me to the hospital. It ended up being a 6-month recovery, tons of occupational therapy. I had to wear like this Mega Man brace.
Yeah.
It was significant. And so this isn't my first like tango with this or tangle with this.
Yeah,
I don't know
sure.
what's the appropriate
That's a good question.
tangle.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Tangle,
I'm not
I
sure.
think. I've tangled.
Yeah.
I don't
Tangled
know.
with it. And
But,
tangled also, maybe.
Yeah, they both work.
Yeah.
But this isn't my first time, and the last time it was a gnarlier fall, but like I was just as fragile. Like I always write shit off to
Sure.
me being in my 30s and be like, oh, you're just getting old and you get hurt more. And it's like, I got hurt a lot then too. I broke my arm like 13. I was in like 13 different casts, from either fighting or skateboarding when I was a kid. And so I don't think it's just that we're getting old. I think that we just forget that we were hurt the entire time. You bounce back slower.
No, I remember that,
For
yeah.
sure. You
Yeah.
do bounce back
I remember when
slower.
I was 15, you'd roll my ankle, it'd be purple. I still had to walk and skate across town, and we'd skate for 2 or 3 more hours.
I remember.
Who cares?
I think it's hilarious. This is totally only skaters know this. That like when you roll your ankle, everybody says you have to skate it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
you
the
keep
thing.
moving.
Yeah.
Everybody
Moving,
knows
skate it
that.
off,
Yeah.
you're gonna
I
get
did it the
stiff.
other day. I did this
it's
like
legit.
a week ago.
Yeah.
Every time I'm at the park, if that kid Jagger's there, I always say, "Hey Jagger, do you want to beat me at skate?" And we'll
Instead of play skate, you wanna
Yeah,
beat me at skate?
and it's
Yeah.
it's one of the ways that like I can get him to do it. If I say you want to play skate, he's gonna
Right.
take it a little serious. If I say you want to beat me at skate, and then if I miss a trick and if I feel like I got close to it, I'll try it again just to see if I can do it, or vice versa. Whatever. And if we get a game done, he beats me the first game, then we play another game where we don't do any of the same tricks. But just doing a kickflip on flat the other day, I jumped a little too far forward. My foot landed right on the front, went over and rolled my ankle. First time it's happened in like years. I mean, it was gnarly. I went down. He was like, oh, he saw it. He made the noise for me because it was such a gnarly roll.
It's a delayed reaction.
And
when it
I was
happens.
wearing these mid-tops.
Mid-tops,
Luckily,
yeah.
I think they helped
Yeah,
a lot.
They do.
But I got up and I was like, I'm just going to keep moving. I'm going to keep moving. It did the thing where it gets all hot and feeling loose. And I was like, all right, I feel good. Let's keep playing. You know, like we got to keep going. I can't sit still. I'm not doing any flip tricks.
Right.
But like I'm still playing this game. And you got to. You have to keep that
keep
motion.
moving.
Motion is lotion.
That's
And
right.
it's
That's
like
right.
you got to keep
Like
it
it.
in it.
Yeah, if
I
you
like
stop for a minute, I remember first time I really ever thought about that. It was like Jeff Rowley would take those huge slams on massive tricks, and he'd go, "Oh, let's keep going because if I stop for 15, 20 minutes to try to work it out, it's I'm
You're
gonna
going to fall
You're done.
apart.
Yep.
I can only imagine.
And then you can't skate at all.
I can only imagine how he's feeling at this exact minute. He's probably hurting.
He probably is. But
Really?
he still does some of that stuff.
Oh, he's so
too.
gnarly.
Well, yeah, and he does he's sponsored by like Yeti, is that right?
Yeah, Yeti.
Oh
and
yeah, he's in with
Silverware.
a bunch of stuff. And
Yeah.
He
and
just
he, and
posted a
he
big
does a bunch
hunt
of
thing.
hunt. Yeah, exactly.
He just posted a big video of it, and there was some.
It was pretty rad.
I know that he
Right.
probably wouldn't
Yeah.
see it, but I probably should just send him a message to see if he ever wants to fly fish.
Yeah, you
Because like
should.
what you shoot your shot,
That's
like
right.
what could happen.
That's
maybe
right. That's
maybe
right.
it'll happen. I'll do that on occasion. I think that social media is the worst thing ever.
I mean,
I
agreed.
hate it. I
Agreed.
hate it. And
Over
I hate
here.
what it's done in the
Same,
world. I
same.
hate how we're all these like I feel like we're. When I was a kid and The Simpsons was on, when the commercials came on, you got up and you left.
You stopped
the room.
paying attention.
You
That's
got
right.
your snacks. You
Sure.
got everything. You came back for the show.
That's right.
All social media is now is short reels trying to sell you something.
Everything is a commercial.
It's all commercials.
Yeah, it's all
Like-
commercial.
And like Instagram's getting bad. TikTok, which I don't use, but like it's
huge.
all it is. It's
huge.
either a sponsored ad, sponsored content, or someone trying to sell you something they made.
Well, and
Facebook's
they also turn users into content creators for the purpose of commercialism
of marketing.
Of marketing.
So
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate all aspects of that as far as social media goes. And also, if you're not, like when you go to Instagram now, you're scrolling through Instagram, you're looking at the people you follow,
Yep.
you see a reel someone posted.
Yep.
You click on the reel to zoom in on something or to watch it, and then now you're scrolling reels.
now you're in the endless
That's the doom cycle.
And now you're not looking at people you follow.
That's
you're
right.
just
That's
looking
right.
at
Yep.
reels
I
from
watched
people who
that
are content
video
creators.
with
That's right.
Nora Vasconcelos and what's her friend? Damn it, I can't think of her name. It's on Thrasher Mag right now. It's a
Nicole.
video. Nicole House.
Yep, Nicole
so they're
House.
talking
Yep.
and they asked those girls, "What's the most emo thing you've done?" I don't remember what Nicole said, but Nora said, "Social media. I get on there and I go
is
down the
emo.
rabbit hole and it makes me emotional, whether I'm pissed or crying." And she said, "That's the dumbest emo thing I do."
Well, you're
And she's
looking
right.
for-
It's dumb, but we do it.
You are trying to get something out of it when you're scrolling, and most of the time it's just a silly dopamine release.
It is.
But what we do when we endlessly scroll through reels is you encourage people who make those really cringeworthy videos where they play
make
like
more.
one person who plays 3 roles, where it's like a guy and he's like, "What's up, bro?" And then it's him with his hat on backwards, and now he's a whole different person.
Thrift store guy.
Yeah,
Thrift store
but
guy.
there's
Yeah.
a million of them, and they
That's
play
true.
out these
That's true.
cringeworthy scenarios that don't matter at all, and you watch it to
All
the
of it.
end
All
to
of it.
see if it has any value, and then he gets a view. And to him, he's like, "Oh, these are getting a ton of views.
That's justification.
Yeah, I'll keep doing it because
Yep.
it's getting me seen." And it just breeds this mentality. So what I'm headed in a direction with this. I don't just want to bitch about social media because I'll never shut up. And I make a
we would
living
never stop.
because of Instagram.
Right,
Sure.
Like,
but there's some dumb shit about it.
but it can be used for such good. Like the reason that I have a really cool video that I'm really proud of with David Gravett, where we went fishing and like he got tattooed based on what he caught. And like he showed up on a cane and we caught a bunch of 25-pound redfish. It's an incredible experience. And like I watched him skateboarding my entire life. I remember his first part that came out. You know, I remember his first ad and all that stuff. That was when I was at Imperial still. And now I'm hanging out with this dude because of social media. There's a show I watch when I draw at night called Primal Survivor. It's on you can watch it on Disney or Hulu. It's like a National Geographic show. It's just one guy. And it's just a survival show, and he goes out and stays with these tribes in Guyana and shit like that for like a month, and then he goes and does a little task. His name's Hazen Odell. I'm a huge fan of him, and his voice is very calming. And I just watch him while I draw. I don't have to pay attention. I can just listen and draw. It's just his voice narrating most of the time anyway. I sent him a message on social media. I was like, he probably won't see it. He's usually at the tribe in Ghana. I talk to him all the time now.
Nice.
Like, he's
Yeah.
going to hopefully come visit me this year. I'll go hang
That's
out
cool.
with him. Like, we've sent each other stuff in the mail. He's awesome. That's what social media should be used for.
Yeah.
And it's
Socializing.
I agree. So,
socializing
yeah, that's a good point.
and
That's a good point.
not to why do people want to be a brand? You know, like it's one thing to make a brand. Like say if you're a creative or you see a need for something.
Yeah.
But another to be like, you're not an actor. Why do you want everyone to know your name? You don't play music.
That's
you know,
right.
if you're not really a creative and you're trying to be creative, for what purpose other than to be popular?
Sure.
It makes this weird popularity contest with a very strange
It makes
approach.
weird people.
It makes weird people, and I make a living from this. I totally, like, without Instagram, and I have to go back and work and take walk-ins at a tattoo shop. But because of Instagram, I get to sell art I made and ship it all over the world. I shipped 8,000 orders this year because of Instagram. You know, and like I can go and be recognized places and stuff like that because of this free app that's on your phone. So I understand that I'm part of the problem. I am self-aware in this aspect.
Yeah, I think we feel that same issue, that like we're a part of that same machine.
Yeah.
That like we're feeding into the thing that, you know, we need your likes, we need your follow,
Yeah.
But
like and subscribe,
and you
all that
kind
bullshit.
of do for it to, when you're, I don't want to say you do for like your life, but like let's say that there's a 40-year-old skateboarder who tore his meniscus and lives in Texarkana, Arkansas, and he doesn't know any of us exist. And the guy loves the outdoors, and he has a lot of pride in his state. And then he finds your podcast because someone did like and subscribe and shared it to him.
Sure,
And
yeah.
everything that you do really resonates. And now, like all all that you need to be successful as an entertainer is 100 people who love you. You know, that's it. 100 people. And it's just finding your fanatics. And you can find someone like that through people sharing it. So
through social media.
So that stuff does have value, and you can make an impact. Everything that I want to do, I get caught up in that. I get caught up in the social media thing where it's like, oh, I posted a tattoo and it's not doing that well, or I posted this image and it's not selling as well.
Well, you're basing your the global or the climate of your audience on one post and its likes.
Yeah, and the reach, and it's like, man, I was hoping that would resonate better and whatnot. But ultimately, none of the shit that I'm doing now is what I'm hoping. It's just a step on the way to my goal.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's part of it.
Yeah, and it's not the bigger picture. It's like you're looking at a pixel and you're thinking the whole picture is bad. The bigger picture makes a huge difference. And my goal now is to find my fanatics for the exact thing that I want to do, because I don't want to be widespread. I want to be niche. I don't want to be famous to 100 million people. I want to be friends with 100 people.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
And so that's my goal. I want people who love fly fishing and love skateboarding and love all the stuff that I do to come stay with me at my home.
Yep.
I want to take them fishing.
Yep.
I want to film them skateboarding. I want to put a tattoo on them. I want to feed them while they're here. I only want to charge them for the tattoo.
Sure.
And I want to film the whole situation and put it on the internet and let the monetization of those videos pay for this person to have a free vacation with me.
Sure.
Like, that's my goal right now. That's just, you know, and I'm getting there. I am chipping away at that slowly, but I am getting steps in that. I will be doing that hopefully in 2025 as like my full-time gig, where I'll take 50 guests a year and do basically, you know, 50 tattoos as far as that goes. And I'm almost to that point, but it's all because of social media. But when I look at a tattoo that like didn't do that well and I get bummed, it's like that shit doesn't matter at all. Yeah. You're still headed in the direction, and it's not a misstep.
Well, I think
the algorithm screws those algorithms they put in. I think there's
I'm a wizard at this stuff.
That's what I'm saying. You have to figure it out, but they also have it set
Yeah.
up where like me, I'm married. I'm like you said, I'm like, oh, look at that skate video. So I swipe up. I'm like, oh, there's something funny. Oh, there's something cringy. And then I'm like, hey, that's almost porn. What am I doing?
And then you're like, and it's 2 a.m. What happened in the last 6 hours?
But it's like, it's not porn. It's just like scantily clad women. And you're like, I already swiped on it. That means they're going to send me more of this shit.
Well, because that counts as a view.
Exactly. It's not, you can't preview what you're going to view, and it's kind of not fair for your algorithm.
I would say,
ramming it down your throat.
It's funny because I hate on it so much, but I have such a good understanding of it that like,
Brandon's for years.
I know how to do it
on the algorithm.
I know how to do it so well that it bothers me, and so I started making lewd artwork intentionally. Started putting a lot of like profanity in and like nudity in, but I do fishing art, so it'll be like tits on a fish or a fish with a big ass or something like that.
And you get the clearance because of that.
Well, it does a few things for me. For one, it takes me off of the shared page, so I don't get shown to as many people.
Okay,
but I get inboxed a lot. So like, I'll say I make a video that's a penis joke, but it's not like me telling a joke. It's art telling a joke. Yeah. Like that video may not get the likes that it might have,
but the reactions.
But it'll get inboxed 40,000 times, and it's like, okay, so it's still making an impact. It's still making the rounds.
You mean people are sending it to each other?
Oh yeah, and I can see all that with insight. So now it's no longer me like getting shown to the masses. Now I'm the funny note getting passed around at school, you know, and I would much rather be that.
Yeah,
the guy who did
right
like the shithouse poets who write like, "Don't beat me up, Scotty, I'm taking a shit."
Well, it's like people who fancy themselves as meme creators.
Yeah,
you know, like that's something that you're not, you're not making it because it's going to be on a shared, a wall or something. It's more like this is going to be sent to a bunch of people and it's going to be very funny.
Yeah, so I've learned it, but I also hate that I know about how to do it.
Sure.
Because like I'm a grown man.
Because
got a bodysuit full of tattoos.
Do you lean into it because you know it? Like you're like, well, I'm going to make another one.
In a while,
well, I also make a living from selling art on the internet. And there's times where it's like, okay,
people love.
I have to make
crude
something
art.
yeah,
for
well, I have
that.
to make something that's gonna do really well because I need to make money.
But
and it could be the difference between me making $30 in a day and me making $700 in a day is a post that I make. And so it's like,
Damn, I feel like you're riding the edge there.
well, it's tricky because it's like, okay, if I draw a fish holding a beer and I put it on the internet, no one's gonna care. But if I draw a fish holding a beer that has a little writing next to him, it's like
a joke of some sort.
yeah, sort yourself out.
Yeah.
It'll get shared
Play on
2,000
words,
times,
Sure.
and I'll sell the $700 that I need to sell in merchandise to
Right.
pay my landlord or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And I hate that I know this stuff because I have devoted my life to being like not involved. Like all the shit I love is fishing and skateboarding and tattooing, all the counterculture.
That's right. But now it's
And
now you're 30 something.
But now also counterculture is popular. Skateboarding is
it is
Olympic.
totally
Well-
popular. It irks me to no ends now. But like you said, I bled it, I was it.
Dude,
got my ass kicked for it, and now it's like anybody
The
can
Circle
do it.
Jerks and the Descendants are playing at JJ's
That's right.
Live.
And I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna drive 2 hours to go to it, but it's still like
going.
it's still like a bro brewery.
It's
but
right.
it's like this is what's happened.
Yeah, Mark told us, he's like, that place is terrible. It's the security sucks.
But
We're
this
like,
is what's happened to counterculture.
Yeah.
And I mean it's kind of the thing where it's like you learn something that's cool, like a band, and then the band ends up blowing up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, they were still good when you found them. It doesn't mean just because you were there first. It is.
I always call it that's the Arcade Fire.
That happened with
It's the
me.
Arcade Fire effect.
That happened to me with Green Day.
They were popular.
I saw them at Vino's.
Yeah.
I
They're like
know the
nobody.
show. I know the show.
Yeah.
And
dude.
it's like,
96. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. There's a band right now that I just love called the Viagra Boys. Have you listened to them yet?
No.
Let me just plant that seed
Oh,
because
planted.
soon
Planted.
you're all gonna be like, I listened to them before they were cool. Even though
And then they become cool.
they're actually
Yeah.
already really cool.
Yeah.
They already have a huge following.
Yeah,
But,
but it's also those like and I think I use Arcade Fire for this example is that they balloon and then they fall away and you never hear about them again. MGMT.
yeah,
You know.
but like Blink-182 is still around, and originally no one
But-
cared.
But that actually I think is
it's like we got tired of them, but then it was okay that they came back.
yeah.
A lot of music though isn't timeless anymore.
That's
And
what
so,
you actually took it out. Yeah.
You have the reason that they are still doing well is because there's like not to say they don't have new fans, but there's a giant nostalgia craze around
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and they represent a whole childhood. Whether you listen to them or not, then
I
you
love
them.
I love
you know.
nostalgic stuff
Yeah,
from
nostalgia.
the 90s and 80s. I eat that shit.
Nostalgia,
Well, it has-
nostalgia is something that's eatable.
But nostalgia has value, but nostalgia should have the same value as remember when. Like, remember when Jeff fell off that trailer and cut his leg or whatever, and you have a laugh? You're not making any forward progress if you're looking back. So it's good to look back. It's good to sample from that and everything, but you're supposed to keep the ball rolling.
See,
Sure.
I like that because I went and saw Anthrax. They still put out new stuff. They came to Fayetteville, super small thing, and they played their new stuff and they played all the old stuff that I
Yeah.
used to skate to as a kid. And I was like, that's what you want.
Sure.
You want the new stuff, but you
Yeah.
want that old stuff too.
Yeah, and it needs to be seasoned in because nostalgia has so much value. So many people get stuck looking back too, and it's like that's all their life becomes. And in all aspects, not just skateboarding, not just punk rock. The guy who's peaked in high school and if coach would have put me in, I would have gone to state or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like all that. We always get stuck looking back, and like it's good because those are the building blocks of who you are. But
That's
you're
right.
supposed to continue to be that person and go on. And so, like, it's great to look back, but you need to take that sample and be like, that's why I like talking about this band Viagra Boys. I'm gassing them up to the people listening to this. Because the guys are rad.
And now
you
you'll know.
Yeah,
You-
and
you've been clued in.
I'm also going to do a video with the dude who's in it in a
Oh,
few
tight.
months. And, like, I'm really stoked because
Nice.
it's going to be – they're also, like, one of my favorite – they're, like, one of my favorite bands right now. So
Gotcha.
I'm really
Yeah.
excited. But yeah,
Very cool.
Anyone, if I'm planting the seed with these people, that means they're going to watch my video. you
That's
know?
right.
right.
That's right.
Inception.
That's right.
I was talking the other day to someone about my buddy Johnny. He's a words of affirmation friend. You know,
yeah.
one of those guys who wants to
Yeah.
tell you just how good you are.
Yeah.
And And our town's small. He lives in Russellville. He owns a bike shop. He owns Jackalope Cycling there. And we're sitting at his house. He's the one I helped move stuff for and ended up getting I didn't even help him move that much. I just got covered in dust and got all congested from it. But he was talking to me. He was like, "You're good. You're just a good guy." And it's like, no, man, I got selfish means. I got selfish motivation and everything.
Like, dude, do you really want to hear about it?
He starts trying to give me some he's like, well, this stuff you're doing at the skate park. And it's like, well, I mean, I'm trying to get a skate park I can skate, man.
Actually, really selfish.
You think I care about these kids? Like, when I give them a board, it's so someone will be at the park when a mom drives by who's on the city council and will say, oh, there's kids using the park now. That way I can get the mellow park that I can skate in my board.
It's a means for my end.
Yeah, so when I'm talking about nostalgia and plugging this band from Sweden, it's just because I'm trying to get these people to watch my video.
You know, it's a means to an end. It's a means to an end.
Marketing genius.
A lot of things have come back around though in skateboarding. You know, talking about nostalgic, the 90s are back.
90s are back. Kids fishtails are back.
True.
Baggy pants are back.
Oh yeah.
I went to a Halloween party, and I just didn't feel like wearing makeup. I was going to be like Vader or something. Me and Eric was going to do some sorts. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go pull out my old shorties. I had an independent baseball jersey. I showed up and everybody was like, damn, 90s. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think they could know, but
you're like, this is just my clothes.
The clothes were from that era, so you could not. I mean, my hands were down to my knees in my pockets because they were so big, but dude, it was dead on. I was like, I'm glad I kept all this stuff.
I always relate everything to fishing and to fly fishing particularly because I can't not, because it's my whole life. And I have that little series about the crossover between the two. And I hate that I'm going to say this on your show because I really wish I would have saved it for my thing. Because it's good.
Say it.
It's more about skateboarding. In fly fishing, there's stages. You have stages as an angler. You just want to catch a fish. Mm-hmm. Then you want to catch a lot of fish. Then you want to catch a big fish. Then you want the smart fish.
Yeah, the specific.
Then you just want to go fishing. And then there's a final stage. That's been written in books and stuff like that. But this final stage is something that is it's not. No one talks about it. It's where you pick every day which one of those you are. And skateboarding is at the exact same point now where I can go with my buddies and we can go skate a gap. And then we can go to a really gnarly transition ditch. And then we can all go grab some pizza and beers and session a curb.
Yeah.
And it's you can pick and choose. And it's okay to be just one. It's okay to be all of them. And I think skateboarding is at such a neat place because it's to a point where it's unobtainable. You know what I'm talking about?
It is.
When you were a kid, you would watch videos. You watch skate videos. When they were filming Girl Yeah Right, they put out a tour video on VHS called Harsh Euro Barge. To me, I think it's one of the best skateboard videos ever made. It was most of the throwaway footage that they didn't use for Yeah Right. They made this video. It was 30 minutes long. I would watch that video, and you'd see them filming lines where it's front blunt, kick flip, and then a fakey front side flip, and then another trick down a handrail. And the fakey front side flip, I'd be like, I just learned those.
Yeah.
I can do a trick that's in a pro line.
You're right.
It's relatable.
Yeah,
and now you got guys doing nollie, late front foot flip, whatever tricks down handrails. And it's it's unobtainable.
Yeah.
I can't relate.
That. Yeah.
And it makes it hard for me to watch because it's man, I love this that you're doing, but we're just doing it differently. You're an athlete. I was never an athlete.
Right.
You've trained. You've worked out. You have a personal trainer. You have a regimen. You have a surgeon on speed dial.
For sure.
I never had any of that. Not that I was ever...
But I'm with you. I'm like, you got these guys now. They instantly hurt. They pull the trainer in. They got a physical therapist. It's all nutritionists.
And I would have, even with all those things, I would have never been half or a third as good as they are.
Right?
I could have never compared. But looking at it, it's this is so hard to watch that when I see obtainable skateboarding or relatable skateboarding, like that guy Ben Koppel, roller surfer.
Yeah.
You watch him. You watch that dude skate for hours because it's I could maybe do that if I could bend over far enough to grab my board while rolling.
Well, or if I was at that park, in that little spot.
But it's relatable.
It's relatable, yeah.
And it's a beautiful water flow from him to me. It's just
it makes it to where you can find joy from all of it. Where it's that dude who kickflip front 50 Staples the other day. Did you see that?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, right.
Unbelievable though. Sober, gnarly. And I can see that. I've stood at that ledge. I know how tall it is. It's insane.
Insane.
I can't believe that someone
imagine.
could kickflip that high.
Right.
And to catch it on the way up still above the ledge is insane. But much less to have to land into a grind and make it down the stairs and get off that ledge. It's a 4-foot drop off the ledge. It's gnarly.
That's insane.
And so to see that, it's like, that's incredible.
You'll never do it.
I'll keep rolling. I'll keep scrolling or whatever. And then you find someone who's doing something fun. I love that skateboarding
Something
is
fun.
there now.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. Where
That's it.
I always relate it to fly fishing, and it's why I put the two together recently in my head. That I was like, these are the exact same. Fly shop culture is the same. And the reason I want to make these videos to compare them is so that broken older skateboarders might find some refuge somewhere else. Where it's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, you can't do it 25 hours a week. You can only do it a few hours.
Well, guys like Mike Moe, incredible skateboarder, one of the best skateboarders in the game at the time, rising star, gets really significantly hurt. Comes back to skateboarding, still looks incredible, but is extremely injured and very limited, and then decides, I can't do this to the level I want to. I quit. And he did. He completely walked away. And it's like, I want something that's still just as technical an application, that's still an endless hallway that you can continue to go down and open whatever door you want.
Yeah.
That I can put in the lap of someone like that as an option, which is why I want to make these videos talking about the crossover and the cultures, because they bleed together.
When are those videos?
I have one out. I have just one out.
When's the series gonna come? Though?
So I have. Well, whenever I quit juggling so many things, I've got 2 more filmed. I just need to edit them. They've been filmed for 2 months.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of it going. It's just that I do so much, like, and I want to have time to just be brain dead, and like I want to have
just
time.
Stop for a second.
I think that's important, especially for a creator. Because before the podcast we were talking about just like being a creator and kind of giving your time to creating. Yeah. And I would probably say that an artist's creations come from the lives that they live. And unless you're living life, you're not able to feed the beast that is your creation.
You'd be a poser if you weren't living
you know
that
what I mean?
life.
Yeah, I think that too, and I think that the people who have been nice enough to support me, I don't have like,
I'll say this: I see a lot of people bite your style.
Well, that's I don't. Yeah,
and I don't know.
It's a different conversation.
Whole other thing.
But I'm not saying
Another podcast.
I'm not saying you did it first or they did it first, but it's like
I did it first.
Yeah,
and I mean it nicely.
But at the same time, I can look
great.
at those people and be like, that dude's not living that life. Like,
he's not living that
That's
life.
a whole nother thing. But
they literally.
If you're
your shit.
well, if you're listening to this and you don't know who I am, I do fish art for a living. I do tattoos for a living. Yeah, I do. We should have started with that, but like, I make art, and then I have really pushed what I love into the art that I make, and it's really translated really well. When I started doing fishing art and tattooing, it was very hard to find clients, and now there's probably 25 guys around the world, maybe more, doing fishing art almost full time in tattooing. I thought originally that if anyone was to see what I was doing and run with it, that people wouldn't have thought, oh, fish tattoos. They would have thought niche tattooing, passion-based tattooing.
And dive into that.
I thought maybe a rock climber would be like, oh my God, look at what he's doing. I could maybe do that, and then I could get rock climbers to come get tattooed by me, and I could have people in my chair who I relate to. So like, I'm going to do, instead of doing just a climbing panther on someone, I'm going to see if I can get him to put it in a harness, or maybe I'll paint it and then maybe someone will come and get it. Like niche tattooing, where like a mountain bike enthusiast who's also a tattooer maybe starts going that route. But instead, I really pushed fish tattoos, and I worked really hard to get it popular. And there's a few other guys who are kind of on the kick who also worked hard. I'm not like saying that
I just know you took off for like a full year doing that. And I didn't see a lot of it except for out of you, and then all of a sudden it just started coming to me.
It's
and
so
I was like,
big, dude. I was listening to actually a podcast the other day with a guy who is doing fishing tattoos, and he was like, well, I'm a third-tier fish tattooer. And it was like, man, I hate that he said that. I respect what he's doing. I respect him as a tattooer. I was packing an order that he had ordered from me as I was listening to the podcast. So it's like, He's supportive of me.
Wow.
Like, this dude's probably my people. I haven't personally
Sure.
met him. He's probably
But
my
to,
people.
but to label himself like that was kind of
But it's like, man,
Weird.
I didn't want there to be fish tattooers. I wanted there to be niche tattooers.
Yeah.
I thought that this was an opportunity. You have guys who are famous for, like, there's a guy in Japan who does a lot of snakes. I think his name's Mirka Soda. You've got Gordon Combs in Portland, Smile Tattoo, who's known for eagles. He's like really redefined the modern, like, American traditional eagle. He's the best eagles in the business. If you looked him up, you'd be like, yeah, these are incredible. So I kind of thought that, all right, there's already these guys who are doing this. Ed Hardy was known for dragons. Tim Lehigh is known for tigers, you know? So it's like there's already guys who get known for something, but what if it was an actual part of their personality? So, like, what if we could insert something we love? And that was my whole goal, is that if I do enough of this, it'll get some people into my chair who love the same thing I love. And it was a lot of work. And at first I thought maybe if I really work hard, I'll get to do one of these a week. And now I could go to any city in the United States.
And that's all they want now,
and
huh?
that's all anyone wants. And
So do you do anything else anymore?
every now and again, yeah. I kind of got painted into a corner with that, but it's fine.
Sure.
It's fine. And I do so much more than just tattoo now. That's where I try to find balance, which is what we're kind of talking about, is doing too many things. I like making lino cut prints. It takes time. You got to carve the plate, then you have to pull the prints, and it's tedious.
It's a long process.
Very long process. Yeah. I do digital art to do products like stickers and shirts. I quit doing graphic design for anyone because I just couldn't keep up with it. I still tattoo. You know, I still do appointments. I haven't so much the last few months because I couldn't use my arm, but I'm just getting back into it to where I'm taking like 4 or 5 appointments a week.
Mm-hmm.
I skateboard. I just started a skateboard brand, Kingfisher, you know, and I'm trying to do photos and stuff for that, as well as design new products. So that's aside from my actual like little brand that's under my name. So it's like, that's a whole new thing. And then I'm trying to edit these videos as well as find time to go film these videos.
Yeah, you gotta time.
Plus,
time
I want to
film
take
them.
people fishing, and I want people to holler at me, and I just want to be able to like go hang out. And I have a loving wife who like I want to spend time with, who doesn't just want to see me face down at a screen all the time.
That's right.
You're to that point where you need. Neil Crawford used to tell us, "Man, I wish I had 26 hours in a day."
Yeah, well,
He needed a couple
I
extra hours.
almost
Right.
do because I generally sleep 4 hours a night.
There you go.
I
Yeah, same.
Because if you sleep 8 hours a night, which you're supposed to, and you work an 8-hour day, which you're supposed to, that means you have 8 more hours to eat, prepare, shop, all the stuff that you do to have food, you know, like go grocery shopping, make meals, all that. Do your laundry, get your clothes together, and then try to find some joy.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a ridiculous thing. So it's like, well, I can't like have that limited amount of time. Where can I get more? I'll just cut that sleep back a little bit. If I sleep 4 hours a night and then I work 6 hours a day, you know, then it's like, well, I got all these other hours to mess up.
Yeah, there's a real disturbing TED talk about that kind of puts an infographic view on the amount of sleep and that's eaten up in life, and then compared to how much screen time one person could have.
Oh, dude, I'm sure that.
And you know, we were talking about feeding the beast.
That's scary.
You know, it's like, you know, here we are, you know, creating some screen time, you know, and it's like you kind of hope as a creator, and I mean, I hope this for this show is that people are getting something from it. You know,
I hope that people listen to it while they're driving instead of watching it.
That's right.
Not
that's right.
like listen to it on YouTube. You
Sure,
know, let him
yeah.
get his views up. But
That's right.
But
Yeah.
listen to it while you're going somewhere to do something.
To do
cool.
something.
That's
Yes,
what I do.
absolutely.
That's how I listen to
absolutely.
I listen
Yep.
to podcasts when I
Yep.
pack orders, and I listen to podcasts when I drive.
Yeah, don't just sit there and listen to
Do
it.
something.
When I go
Do it.
fishing, I'm outside. That's my time.
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
it's like I don't
something.
try to have anything to do with any technology then.
Dude.
But yeah, that's what I would hope for people, is that
Man.
it's keeping the boring part of the day entertaining while they're on their way to do something.
Well, it's like and I think I don't know this for all creators, but I think that at least for us in this room, I think we have this feeling that like if you're looking at something that we created, we want you to take that as inspiration and do something.
Yeah, without doing it exactly the
100%.
same. Like,
Well, don't make a fish tattoo.
I've always encouraged people to do what I do, because
Sure.
it's like if
But-
someone encroaches and steps into where they're like, there's plenty of room, but if it turns out there's not as much room as I thought, and someone should move in and push me out of the way, then that's my motivation. Rather than fighting for the spot I've already been holding, that's my motivation. Now it's time to move forward.
Yeah.
Sure.
And my whole goal is like, I don't want to do everyone's tattoo. I don't want to do like hardly anyone's tattoos. I love tattooing. I love everything about it, but I don't want to be at the shop 12 hours a day doing every mom's Infinity Knot or Mountain Outline or anything. I have no problem with those tattoos. Or angel wing back piece is the thing I usually say, because it's a tedious, long process for something that doesn't involve a lot of flavor.
I'm always the Corinthians 5.
Yeah, but like 413. It's 413.
Yeah, whatever.
413. Get it right.
But yeah, dude, I know. Seriously, I could probably recite the entire Bible from the amount of times I've tattooed all that stuff. But I got no problem with doing that stuff. I don't think I'm better than that or anything like that.
Sure.
It's just in the limited amount of time that I have to water that part of my life, to water that seed, I want to make sure that it's like, if it actually became a real struggle when I still lived in Fayetteville, because I was working at Brainstorm and we did walk-in Saturdays.
Yep.
And everyone I work with had been tattooing significantly longer than I had. But I was getting really lucky with Instagram, and I was starting to have people buy plane tickets to come get tattooed by me. I work in a shop full of people who are significantly better than me. You know, like Judd. You know Judd. Judd's incredible. Judd's the one who gave me my first job at a tattoo shop. Like, I owe him so much. He's an incredible tattooer. He's done my whole torso. Like, I've got a bunch of tattoos from Judd. I would have dudes flying from out of state to come down here and get tattooed in the same building as
that
him.
Judd was in.
And Jason and Tim and like all of them. And like, everybody's so good. Well, it started to become a little bit of an issue because I'm still the young guy there. And be like, hey man, on Saturdays I think I'm not going to do walk-ins anymore, and I think I'm just going to take appointments because I got all these people who want to travel.
That's building up,
and
it's kind of piling up.
And they're like, no, Saturdays are for walk-ins. You're doing walk-ins. And in my head, it's like, okay, so this kid wants to fly from Chicago to come get me to do something that I would draw on him with a Sharpie, and if he would never tell me to make it bigger or smaller, he would just get it because he just wants it from me.
Sure. Why
would I turn him away
for a walk-in
to tattoo a walk-in on someone who's going to make me resize it 20 times?
Yeah.
And it's like
angel wings.
The problem here is that I was talking to guys who've been doing something for 10 years longer than me, you know, and they're better than me.
And there's part of the they would probably say, anybody tenured would say there's a grind.
Well, yeah, and
you have to go through.
But I'd already done it. I've worked in a tattoo shop for 16 years now, so it's like it's not like I'm a baby in it.
Sure.
And at this point, I was in it over 10 years. You know that this was happening. But it was hard for me to find balance. Sure. And so nowadays I do 4 or 5 appointments a week. And I do the things on, and if I don't get a message from someone who tells me that they want something that I do this exact week, and someone else is like, hey, I want this angel wing back piece, I just tell them I'm not the guy, because there's 1,000 tattooers that
will do that
better than me,
and it's like, and they want to, and they want to do that.
Yeah, and it's like, why would I take away something from someone like that? And if they're going to do a better job, it's like, I'm the guy who does the novelty thing. I'm very happy to do that. I do a good job of it. Come to me for that. Let me add to your collection, and then you can go back to your normal tattooer. I'm fine with that.
What's the dumbest one you ever done?
Oh, I've done them, dude.
What's a typical dumb one? I'm trying to think. I remember
the thing about dumb tattoos is
go down there and they'd always bitch
the
about
infinity thing you're talking about. That one cracks me up.
The thing about dumb tattoos
the compass one, the
is
north,
that
south, east, west.
It's funny. Almost all tattoo podcasts, like whether they mean to or not, they get to
they
what's the
get
dumbest.
into I bet
it's like, and I'm not knocking you, it's the cliche thing that gets
cliche
asked.
question.
But even the professionals that I like really look up to, I just listened to a podcast with this guy Philip Liu, who's like overseas, and when you listen to him talk, you get sucked in. He's so whimsical and captivating. He's been tattooing for like 35, 40 years. He comes from a family of it. And in the podcast, it still goes to what's the dumbest tattoo.
Everybody wants to know.
Because everybody wants to know.
It.
The thing is that when you've been that engrossed in something, your definition of dumb changes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So with reality television came the rise of what does your tattoo mean? Before reality television and tattoo shows like Miami Ink and LA Ink,
you could just have a flaming 8-ball.
You just went and picked it off the wall. Yep. I like this. I'll get
right.
this. No shame.
Sure.
reality television comes along,
Wow,
they
that's
need to
so
fill
crazy.
area on the television show to make people watch it. So it's not just people tattooing, because that's really not that interesting. So they say, what does this mean to you? And it adds drama. That's the whole point. It's all tattoo television
honestly,
shows.
it's
That's
blowing my
either
mind
they
right
add
now.
drama or
Yeah.
they have actual drama between the tattooers. It's
Yeah.
always like Ink Master and shit like
Yep.
that. It's all about drama.
It is.
All of it's
Yep.
about
So
drama. Go and do any tattoo shop in the United States and see some drama right now. You're not. You're going to see a bunch of nerds drawing, you know, and hearing. Yeah, you don't even hear that anymore. Like tattoo machines, they got quiet. ones now.
Oh, did they?
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
It's been a while.
So, to me, what I think is dumb has changed because, like, I had a Saturday once that I did the same tattoo 7 times on 7 different women who were not together, and they all told me what it meant to them. And
This
it was
has to
all
have been a walk-in
something
day,
different.
right?
Yeah, it was a walk-in day, and
Yeah.
it was an arrow. It was just a little arrow. And
Oh,
it's
the
like,
little arrow.
Yeah.
well, you know, when you're getting pulled
Yes.
back in life, it's only to shoot you forward and like all this stuff. And they just need this deep meaning because they can't just come in and say, I want it because it's cute. I think it's cute, but they got to put something to it. I think that's dumb now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
only
had
ever
a-
got stuff because it was rad.
I had a guy once.
Yeah.
When I was pretty new, I had a guy who I'd known from Little Rock, was like through the punk scene. This guy Patrick came in, and I tattooed a limp penis on his right foot. His entire right foot, and the balls say "wild and free," which was like a
Damn.
Smith.
Love it.
It was a Smith's reference.
Yeah.
And he thought of a limp dick to be like the shameful, like a shameful, broken thing that like society looks down on.
Yeah.
But using that as a statement about being like unshackled and being wild and free. He really, and like, I'm knocking putting meaning to it, but it wasn't surface level. It was
Right.
like a genuine,
Sure.
like, I love this song. What can I get to represent this? And
That's
he
a good-
happened to
that's
think
good.
of like something very awkward, you know? And I do this like, it's funny because I had to like look up a picture of a limp penis and trace it because like,
I would have never.
I wanted to be like,
penis with a Smith.
I literally Googled limp penis.
My penis is never limp, so I don't know. Really don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, well, I like traced it because I've never seen one straight on. I've only ever seen
Right,
them
it's from a
looking
down
down.
angle.
Yeah. So it's
Perspective.
Like, yeah. So like you come into the shop and I'm sitting at the computer and there's a penis, like a limp penis, and
Look,
I'm like sitting there
research.
drawing.
Research.
swear to
purposes.
I've
God.
never seen them at this angle, you know, and they're only hard when I look at them. Yeah, but so I do this on this guy. Most people would think that was the weirdest tattoo, you know, and it's like to me,
It meant more.
it was
than
more
some of the other
logical,
ones.
and like the meaning he put to it wasn't like super deep and personal. He just liked a song, and he thought that this would represent the song. It was something representative of something he liked. It wasn't like it didn't need to be like, I don't know, a picture says 1,000 words. He didn't need it to say, like, he didn't
Right.
need to speak for it. You know what I mean?
But I guess it's like what you're saying. Like you can't just get like a benign tattoo anymore.
Yeah.
Like it has to have some
Everybody's
sort
got a
of meaning
meaning on
to
it.
you.
Which that's changing
Everybody.
though. People are starting to just get tattooed again.
That's good.
I do a
Yeah.
lot of like where people come in and like, well, my grandpa. Just the other day, the last tattoo I did was a trout for a guy's godfather, who and a fly that his godfather had him tie, and he gave me a picture of him at like 10 years old tying this fly with
Sick.
his godfather, and they went out and he caught a cutthroat, and I did this on this kid this year.
pretty cool.
Really
Yeah.
cool,
Pretty cool
really
story.
cool
Yeah.
homage to pay. You
For sure.
know,
Yep.
But I also get people who come in and are just like, yeah, just give me something, you know, like, and I
want a skull.
I like either or. Well, now they just asked me for a fish, but like whatever
Well,
kind of
yeah,
fish you
sure.
want.
Yeah,
you
right.
know? I like either or. You know, I just don't want it to be. I don't want it to feel like you're trying.
Trying,
That's
yeah,
where
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm like kind of roasting those women from that walk-in day. Is I felt like they were all getting the same thing. They were all putting different meaning to it because they felt it needed
Yeah.
meaning. It's
Yeah.
like, you can just get it.
That's a good point. I always thought about people who have like like full sleeves or just like full torso, and I always said to myself, there's no way that every one of those tattoos means something.
People-
it's
dude,
fucking impossible.
There's a lot of filler out there, right? I mean,
Well-
if you're going to do a full back piece, you got to have some kind.
You're gonna have something. I say it all the time where people are like, people say like, I want to get a tattoo. I just don't know what I want to look at for the rest of my life.
Right.
If you were gonna look at it for the rest of your life, I wouldn't be here at this podcast. I'd be in bed still trying
That's
to figure out
right.
what the fuck
What I'm
happened
gonna
to me.
do,
You know, I'd be
yeah,
like, oh
right.
no, there's this and there's this.
yeah,
you
right.
get your whole body
Yeah,
done. You don't look at that
you don't
every
stare at
day.
it all day like.
It's just a part of your skin.
No,
it's just
absolutely.
anything else.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And really, like, your skin is potentially more temporary than anything you own. Like every time you buy a new t-shirt, that t-shirt might outlast your skin. You are a temporary being. I bought 6 beers at the store tonight, and there's a chance I'll be dead and gone before these fucking beers are drank. And like, you have to think about that in all of that. And I think about that heavily in tattooing. You might be making a 50-year commitment. You might be making a 5-minute. Yeah, 5-minute commitment.
Yeah.
I had a guy get killed in the Aurora Theater shooting, the Batman shooting that I had tattooed like 3 or 4 weeks before when guest spotting in Aurora. And the only reason I know is because the family called the shop and wanted to get the tattoo from the guy that did his. I was a guest artist at the shop. They reached out to me. I wasn't going to be back in Denver for a long time.
But they wanted the same person. And
it was a tattoo that like had no meaning. It was like a Houston Astros star with some smoke or something.
Like now it has meaning.
Yeah, it became
but like that guy got that thing. He came in, he sat down for 3 hours to get his elbow tattooed. It might have been 2 weeks later. I mean, it was within a month that he got this thing. He thought he was going to have this for the rest of his life.
Well, he did.
He might have had me change the drawing to make it perfect. He did have it the rest of his life. He thought his life was going to be a lot longer.
Technically.
Right. And then he went out and got shot by some lunatic, and it was over. Some people die in a car crash on the way home. We watched a dude get smoked in front of the shop one day here in Fayetteville, and it's like just pulled right out, right out and got hit, and like he didn't die, but you just never know. And so I think it's best to just consider it temporary.
Yeah.
Don't make don't go get a swastika on your forehead or anything.
I can cover it up.
Don't be an idiot. But people overthink it so much.
Is there a fish you won't do?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do a fish in the shape of a swastika. But no, I don't.
Like a koi fish.
No, I tell people that they should probably go to someone who does Japanese tattooing for a koi fish.
Yeah.
If you want to, it's like, because
I know you've done most of the other ones from what I can tell, but it's just like
koi fish have I have a koi fish sleeve on my Instagram. It's probably from 10 years ago, and it's actually really solid. Koi fish have been tattooed for 1,000 years.
they're really old,
and they have a formula. It's an actual formula.
Okay.
It's in fifths. The head's the first fifth, the tail's the last fifth, the dorsal starts in the middle of the second fifth, the eyes on the first fifth of the head. If it's not that, it's wrong.
Wow.
And nobody knows that other than people who do Japanese tattooing.
Yeah.
We're in Northwest Arkansas. There's probably 55, 60 tattoo shops here. There's two of them that know that. There's a lot of people.
See someone with a bad.
You can go into any of them. You see more bad koi fish than you see
bad.
Then you know trout.
I mean, you see so many bad koi fish, but most people don't know they're bad. They don't know they're wrong. You could go into any of these shops and get a koi fish. Someone might accidentally do one on you that was drawn correctly, but it's an accident. There's only 2 places in town you can get them done well. It's kind of how it goes. So like when people ask me for koi fish, I say go to someone who does Japanese because they draw it, and there's a lot of mythology there too that I don't have all the answers for. Like a koi fish the koi fish jump up the waterfall. If they get to the top of the waterfall, they turn into a dragon. It's why you see koi fish that have a dragon head on them sometimes, like fish body,
because they're like emerging.
Yeah, they're supposed to be doing this. It's like at the end of the struggle, it's the same as Christianity is going to heaven. It's like you fight, you do good, you
fight, go upstream.
Yeah, you transform and go.
Yeah, it's transformative. But there's so much to be said about a koi fish that's diving down, because what does that mean? And so a lot of these guys, I roast Japanese tattooers who are really good at it, because I'm like, a lot of these guys that know all the Pokemon, but they know all those stories.
Sure.
So if you go to someone who does that, you'll get a good one. If you come to me, I'm going to draw it to look like a koi fish, but
it might not have that same correct presentation.
Yeah. And also like, let's say if you come to me for a kingfisher or a blue heron or a green heron or an osprey, I'm going to draw it to look like that. But if you come to me for an eagle, I'm going to draw it to look like a bald eagle tattoo, because there's been 10 million of them done already.
Yeah.
Koi fish are the same. When you ask me to do a snakehead on you, which like the fish, a snakehead or a grinnell or a bowfin or something like that, or Araprima, I'm going to look at a picture of an Araprima. You ask me for a koi fish, I'm going to look at koi fish tattoos, because they've already been done a certain way for so long.
They're so dialed in.
And the formula has already been
it's already there.
Out. Yeah.
The cool thing about trout tattoos is when I got to them,
it hasn't been figured out.
Yeah,
You figured it.
I actually, man, I'm so careful about saying stuff like that because I don't want to bring the hubris, or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But I have a formula for trout that I made, and it is right.
No,
and I made it. So I'm not saying I made the formula, but the one that I made is correct. And there's a lot of people who draw them wrong, and everything that I draw about them that's wrong is done with intention to make it a more quality tattoo.
And usually that's where you have like the humor. Is part of that reason.
Yeah, and I don't want to do realistic stuff. I don't like when people fetishize realism. Like if you see people who are like, "Oh, he's the best tattooer in the world. Look how real this looks."
Sure.
If you want to picture,
some of those things are weird. Some of those tattoos they look really real, but then they also look weird on the skin.
I just think like if you want an oil painting on your wall to look like a picture you took, why would you not just blow up the picture?
Just take
at this point we have photography and large format printers. You can just
exactly
have
so that. People who look at painters who do realistic paintings, they're like, this landscape is beautiful, and it's like he just took a picture and then painted the exact same thing. He probably traced it and then looked at it while he colored in the whole thing.
Very true.
I mean, and when I say probably, I mean 99.9% because that's how that's do that.
That's how you do it.
It's how you do it. It's part of the procedure.
Right.
So with that, to me, why would you not just hang the picture? Why do you need to trouble the guy to spend all of his time trying to do something that a machine can do in a half a second? Why doesn't he make something from his brain that a machine can't
If
do?
he's that good, then he should.
Or at least fun.
Yeah.
Like, art's supposed to be creative.
Yeah, I think that's what I was looking
Too damn
at.
serious sometimes.
Yeah. And that's the thing about, like, realism is, like, people fetishize that stuff, and they're like, this guy is the best because it's the most realistic.
It's the most real. Like,
and that's it is. It's very realistic.
But
he is really good. He's great. He's better than I'll ever be. I just don't care. It doesn't have the flavor. It's the exact same thing as someone doing a nollie front foot flip, late flip, back blunt, whatever, down a 12 stair. It's unrelatable to me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't spark my interest. I want to feel something, and I want it to be fun. And when I look at it, I want to think, what was he thinking? Why did he do that? I don't want to watch a robot. And if a camera can do it, if it's like now AI is being programmed with art.
Yeah.
So like they would upload my art in the AI and then it could do what I do.
Yeah, there could be somebody could create a prompt that said, draw this art in the style of DrewLR.
I'm a little I'm a little sketched out by AI.
They can't make AI to help me with my taxes or to tell me if I have cancer.
No, exactly.
But they can rip you off.
But they can rip you off.
They can steal your ability to be creative.
It's kind of aggravating to me.
I won't even humor. If I see stuff on the internet that's like, the other day I was scrolling, it was like a bunch of celebrities with grills like in their teeth done by AI. If I see any of that shit, I block it.
I don't
just
even
block
go to
it. It's like, don't show me any of this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to feed that.
It's worse than the filters.
Well,
it's
that's the only freedoms we have. Like I don't want to. I'm not going to get political or anything like that. But we just are very limited. And with the rising spike in grocery prices, and I mean, absolutely everything that is happening in the world right now is to make you have to continue to work to pay your bills.
Sure.
That's all that everything is designed to do. You're on a hamster wheel.
Yep.
That's it.
Keep running, brother.
Yep.
They don't want you to have any freedom. It's the whole idea of government is to govern. Like, they don't want you out there being self-governing. They don't want you to be out exploring or doing anything fun. They want you on your wheel because then you're controlled. And so with AI, they're taking away, what they're doing is they're replacing for cheaper art. And they're going to take away your freedom of expression by making it obsolete, because you don't have to do the work anymore to get the likes. You just do the typing and then you get the likes. And that's all that, that's what all these people are programmed for, is it's like, I need to get this endorphin release from my post doing well on social media.
Well,
it's the Matrix, bro.
It's crazy.
Well,
I wish it was the Matrix.
Yeah, it'd be a little easier to crack. But one of my biggest issues and gripes at this current state in time is that of faceless YouTube channels. So there are YouTube channels out there that I would say like motivational videos, and it's like sunsets and a waterfall, and it's got text talking about wealth.
All AI.
It's all AI.
All AI.
Well,
it's
and then to make matters worse, there are YouTube channels teaching people how to make those.
Yeah, to make money off.
To make more of them.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's not real life to me.
Dude, it is crazy.
I can watch a podcast and feel organic and genuine, but if I start, that's like I said, that stuff.
I will
drives me
just
away.
always complain about the internet every chance
We're
I
gonna
get.
we're gonna be those old guys that are like, give me the old internet back.
Yeah, I was in Fayetteville today, and I'm talking about how I miss Fayetteville. I went to our Sega's and ate earlier today, and I was like looking at the menu, and I was like, this is all bullshit.
I don't remember any of this shit.
Well, it also says like I love this place, and I love to eat breakfast.
I
there.
love nostalgia though.
Yeah, but the nostalgia aspect of what it was to what it is now.
Yes.
It's only been 10 years, but it's like every item on the menu, it says pairs well with and a drink below it. But every item has a different drink and none of the drinks are repeated. So it's like this avocado toast pairs well with a
only
grape soda, or
used
this
with this.
pairs well with a
Control my
cappuccino. But you
choices.
never see cappuccino again anywhere on the menu, and it's like, what doesn't it pair well with something else? But they're just thinking about selling stuff.
Yeah, it's
But
like wine and pairing.
I'm getting to be such a hater, and I'm trying not to look back and like I'm trying to move forward because I'm always talking about nostalgia has value,
It's
but it's
funny.
the same as remember
Look,
when.
just an old asshole.
And I was like,
We
who
all-
made
we-
this menu? What jerk made this thing?
You have to think a lot of this all was forged at Canis. All these,
a lot
these
of all of
issues.
this was forged against.
Yeah.
What I think we need to do is
Foreshadow.
we need to get everyone together. There needs to be a big old brawl.
Yeah.
And then it can sink the
It'll all
scene.
bring us back
back
together.
Back together.
Damn, somebody bring in some crappy band.
I'm going to get canceled next week for saying that.
Yeah.
I do have a really funny story about me almost getting canceled.
Okay.
And it is a little edgy.
Okay.
So you stay on the internet, you're liable to get it.
If you're very PC, bear with me to the end.
Bear with me.
In-
If they made it this far into the
Cover
podcast,
your children's
then,
ears.
then they're with us.
And I'm gonna say the F word in this, the
Okay.
other F word, not the
Oh,
4-letter
no.
one, but I'm gonna say it under a
cigarettes?
different context because I want people to understand it because this is pretty funny. At least I think it's funny looking back. Most people that tell this story don't look very entertained, but it's good. In 2020, during the COVID shutdown, I made a piece of art to put on the internet every single day of quarantine. Whenever we were like shut down and couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I would go fishing a lot, but I would just fish into Fayetteville near my house. A lot of times I would walk because like you couldn't even get gas some places then. We couldn't tattoo, we couldn't do anything. So I would make a piece of art every day to put online. I did a bunch of like family friendly fun stuff. I would do coloring pages. I was just trying to make people at home have something to do, keep them entertained. And I went down like the food groups where it's like I draw like a fish as a fish taco, fish in a taco shell with some toppings, or a fish jumping through a donut, or sushi roll or whatever.
Right.
And then I decided to do a fish sticks one. So I do a bundle of sticks with a fish head, fish tail, fins, everything.
Nice, yeah.
It's a nice little drawing. It looks good.
Fish sticks.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, fish sticks. There's a joke that everyone thinks of due to modern pop culture from South Park with Kanye West about fish sticks.
Fish sticks, yeah.
And it's
yeah.
do you like fish sticks? And you say yes, so you're a gay fish
You're a
because
gay
it's
fish,
fish
yeah.
dicks. That's
Yeah.
the joke.
Yeah.
So I put this on social media. Everyone's at home. No one has anything to do. Everyone's looking at there. Everyone's super offended.
All triggered
about
out.
everything all the time. Not about my fish sticks.
Yeah,
yet.
okay,
I'm just stating
okay.
in this time
Okay,
frame.
They're on
gotcha.
it. They're on
Yes,
edge.
yes.
Yeah,
they
this
are.
was the heightened moment of like social media warriors and
Offensiveness.
offensiveness
Canceling.
and canceling and everyone because no one had anything to do. And so I put the fish sticks drawing on Instagram with the caption, "So you're a gay fish." I hit post and I go fishing. I throw my phone in the bag. I go out on the water. I'm on the water for like an hour or two. I caught a fish. I pull my phone out to take a picture and it's like bing, 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 bing. Like all these notifications. Like, I can't believe you, you piece of shit. I thought you were better than this. I just totally didn't think you were this type of person. And I'm like, what?
You're like, what's going on?
What's
Dude.
going on? You can see your demographic and where they're from, and I have a demographic in the UK.
Okay.
And a bundle of sticks is called a faggot. And
Yeah.
That's the F word right
Oh, right,
Yep.
right.
And that's a word
They
that
use the word over there.
yeah, they use it casually.
right.
Also for
For
cigarettes.
a fag, can I have a fag?
because it's a bundle of sticks. That's why a cigarette's called a faggot.
I used to go to the skate park and ask the kids if they had an extra fag I could suck on.
Yeah. So, well, I'm talking about what they talk for about the UK.
Watch yourself.
So I put this
We get
up,
this show canceled.
and I come back from I wasn't even done fishing. I had to leave to go address this and handle this.
It's going down.
Because of this, where it was like I was making the whole caption was a reference to South Park. It was just supposed to be fish sticks. Had nothing to do with the bundle of sticks.
Gay,
but that's the only way I knew to draw the fish sticks, and it come across like I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
It didn't cross culture well, did it?
I seriously
right.
had like 20 inbox
true.
messages as well as all the comments on it. It was crazy.
That's
And it's
crazy.
Like, man, like Louis C.K. got canceled for jerking off on a plant in front of someone.
Yep.
It's like,
Yep.
Like, I didn't even get close to that.
if I was ever to
I
think
used to
about being famous, and well, I mean, I'm saying like I think that's silly that he got canceled for that. Like,
Yeah.
you think about being famous, like a rock star. You think
They're
about
all-
bands like Motley
They're
Crue.
watching
Yeah.
like a
Who were
hawk.
like doing the worst, most gnarliest shit to everyone. It's like this guy literally got world famous, and he jerks off on a plant. Any one of us could go
Could have
jerk
done
off
that.
on a plant.
And you never
That's
hear about what he
it's not a rock star thing. It's a sad guy
Yeah,
thing.
it is.
You
You're
know?
a loser.
He got canceled for not even doing a rock star thing.
Right,
he
right.
literally he got as famous as he could get, and he got it ripped out from under him
From
because
doing-
he came like a pathetic guy. And if he would have just like ejaculated off a balcony onto a group of women, everyone would have been like, "Oh, he's
They'd have been
famous."
like, oh, he's like Michael Jackson. It's like the baby.
Yeah, but yeah, I
happened to
almost
Paul
got
Rubens, too.
Yeah, Paul Rubens. Well, you know what?
Yep.
I want
R.I.P.
to
Yeah.
talk about Paul Rubens for just a second. I'm a big
Okay.
Pee Wee fan,
I
and I
love
can
Paul
say
Rubens.
this kind of about Louis C.K. as
For
well.
sure.
In all the sexual promiscuity, all the cancellation, all the sexual inappropriateness that's happened over the years, Chris Brown being his woman,
Yeah.
all this stuff. Paul Rubens kept his hands to himself,
That's exactly right.
Dude. Yeah.
and he was in a porn theater.
That's right. He was. It wasn't
I've
like-
never
Yeah.
been in a
like,
porn theater.
He's
but
not the first person, and he sure as hell wasn't going to be the last
yeah,
person.
I just imagine they would be very sticky,
Yeah,
And
sure.
so it's like,
and you can imagine he's not the only one in there doing that.
But we'll get back on skateboarding.
But
and get off Paul.
I want my kid to grow up watching Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yeah.
I like Paul Rubens I first came across him as a kid, Pee Wee's Playhouse, and then I went back, and when I got older and partying, hey, look at all this stuff he's in. Cheech and Chong, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that was his original character.
He's
was in
so
there.
involved in so many things. He was a detective in a movie, Matilda.
Oh.
He's into Matilda. He's the detective in Matilda. I believe.
That
He's
sounds
in a
right.
bunch of those
Positive.
movies. He's in a bunch.
I can't
of
remember
from
if
that
it was
time
Matilda, but
yeah,
yeah, I
I'm pretty
remember
sure
the
it's
detective role.
Matilda because she's magic, and they're trying to bust their dad for selling like stolen car parts or something.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Paul Rubens and that.
Yeah.
He's in a ton of stuff. I have like, you come to my tattoo spot or whatever, there's like a bunch of Paul Rubens stuff there.
Oh, okay,
I'm
cool.
a big fan.
Yeah,
Like
that's cool.
I have when I worked in Fayetteville, I had a Pee Wee bobblehead, and his arms are back because he's doing his dance,
Oh, yeah,
in
the-
front.
yeah.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
put a $2 bill folded up behind his arms, and my clients started bringing them to me. So like it would be a
cool.
normal thing for like, hey, I brought you a $2 bill. I'd be like, oh, give it to Pee Wee.
Give it to Pee
And
Wee,
like
yeah.
there's I still have them all in it at my shop now. There's probably
Pee Wee
20
rules.
of them,
That's
and they're
cool.
all from clients. They're all
That's
from
cool.
clients, But
Yeah.
we'll get back on
I
kickflip.
I still think as a child that show and that dude was a big influence on me. Just
Absolutely.
to be a good.
I mean, look at you.
ball
Yeah,
and
I mean, pretty much. Yeah, I can see it.
I loved him.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Well, actually, we're approaching our 3-hour mark.
Okay, yeah, we oughta shut up.
And we've never done that. We never got
And
to
We actually didn't touch on a lot of
stuff that we were
It
supposed to.
happens a lot, and we've never done the podcast this late.
Hey,
No, yeah.
really quick before
Yeah.
we get
Sure.
away from it, I
Yeah.
wanted to take a second to talk about what I'm doing with my little skateboard company.
Yeah,
because
please
you guys
do.
happen to
Please
be,
do.
I should say
I-
brand.
I would love to end on Kingfisher and what the plans are
I wanna hear
for
it.
that
Yeah,
rolling
I
out.
have some. Well, I mean, you
Yeah.
happen to be the guy who's helping me with boards and all
Yeah.
that stuff too. So the reason I decided to start that,
Mm-hmm.
it's really there's two things. For one, I want to gas up Russellville particularly. And I figure if I make this little board brand, I can buy these boards, bulk at wholesale. I can sell them online. They're super affordable compared to like how skateboards are now. I think I sell them for $55 online. Skateboards are expensive now.
Yeah.
But I'm doing all this so that I can sell them to my kids for $35 gripped in Russellville. Like, I'll give those kids boards if they need them, but if it's like a kid who wants to buy a board, I want it to be affordable to them. And so, like, the whole design of it is for it to basically break even, you know, but I want it to be able to gas up my local scene. But the original seed that made me want to do that, I'd done one set of boards that was not like a brand. It was just some art on some boards that I had made. And I was wanting to make some wheels potentially. And I was talking to Todd Given in Little Rock, and I was asking him, Todd's one of the best skateboarders I've ever known in my life. He's so good.
Phenomenal.
Tech dog.
Well, dude, he
So
is
good.
way more than just that, though. Like, he has gone through so many stages of skateboarding that, like, there's a line, maybe in Lurking Hard or something, there's a line of him doing, like, it's like a 3 stair set in a row, and at the end of it, it has a switch front big down like a 9 or 10 stair. Like, I mean, he used to jump down big stuff. He's skated plenty of rails. Like, I told him about this little rail I'd found in Little Rock. It was a wooden rail that was kind of low to get on. It was like an 8 or 9 stair. And, like, 2 days later, he'd had, like, nollie tricks down it, you know? And, like, Todd's a great skateboarder. He's way more than just a technical.
Well, he's just control. The dude's got a lot of control.
I think his technical skateboarding has come with the he's 35. You know?
He slowed down and got more tech.
Yeah, and that's
true.
how you
That's
have
true.
longevity, you know? But I was talking to him one day, and, you know, anytime a professional skateboarder comes to Arkansas, there's 2 people they call. They call Nick Gibson or they call Todd if they want to get shown some spots. So he's always showing people around. He's a steward to Little Rock skateboarding. He is
For sure.
He is everything I think that someone should be to their local skate scene, on top of him being just an incredible skateboarder.
Amazing. Yep.
And I was talking to him, and he was I'd ask him if he'd gotten any packages yet. Like, have you ever got a package from a company? And he hadn't. He's like, I had a Thrasher sent me a package. We'd done this video that was on Thrasher. It got sent to this store that this guy in Little Rock had, and the dude ended up opening it and selling it all.
Whoa.
And Todd never got anything from his own package.
Oh, man.
And yeah, I mean, just as it just happens like that sometimes. And I wanted to send my friend a package. And I did.
Yeah,
I sent him some
cool.
boards and wheels and stuff like that in a
Nice.
box. I see him
That's
sometimes.
great.
I know his address, you know, from him sending it to me to meet him at his house once. And,
That's funny.
So I sent him a package, and that was the one that really inspired me to be like, I just wanted my friend to be able to look back and be like, yeah, I did get a package from a company. You know, I don't care if it's like a big, awesome moment, but I believe in him, and I wanted him to know I believe in him, and I saw it as an opportunity to, like, gas up someone I care about, and then to gas up my local community and potentially give my local kids something to be proud of. And they are. There's a few of them who aren't. We have 10 skateboarders in Russellville. I've only talked about one of them. We have 10. Most of them don't have the drive that the one does, but
It's hilarious that you can count.
But it's like
them.
you said though, a lot
probably
of
8. I could name them all.
You're one of the
a lot of
10.
them are dead.
Yeah, a lot of them have passed away.
Yeah.
Before I got there, because I used to go visit Russellville when that park was new, and I knew all those people, and they are like Dwayne Qualtz died.
Dwayne Qualtz,
yeah. He's a ripper.
Yeah, he's a
but
good dude.
Russellville is plagued by alcohol and meth.
Yep.
It's one of those small towns that will destroy teenage
Well,
kids,
it's
man.
dry. There's no booze there.
There's no booze. Yeah.
So when you go out of town on the way home, you stop by the liquor store. You have to drive 24 miles.
Oh, it's
to
in
the liquor store.
Blackwell?
Yeah.
Blackwell.
It's
Yeah.
24 miles. So it's like when I've never drank more than my first 6 months in Russellville because I never really drank at home before. I'm like casual. I'll go to the bar or whatever.
Yeah,
I grab
sure.
beers to go with friends. I never have kept a surplus of alcohol at home. But I have so many guests coming through, and you can't buy booze.
You can't
So
just
when
run
I
and
go
get
to
it.
a liquor store, I'm buying 60 beers and 3 bottles of whiskey. And then I'm going home, and I'm
right.
looking at
You're
all these
bulking-
beers and whiskey.
bulking up,
And It's
yeah.
like, well, shit, I got nothing to do. I might as well drink these.
I drink all these.
That is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
But people, they hoard alcohol there, and when they go to the liquor store, they buy as much as they can, and it causes alcoholism. It's crazy. It's really wild.
That's like where I'm from, the other side of the state. It's a dry county, and they make this super dangerous trek over to the liquor store, and people die all the time.
Yeah.
Or they set up roadblocks to prey
To
on
bust
these
To
people.
prey on them,
Yep.
yeah.
And it's
Well,
like, whoa.
it's something that they put into motion.
That's right.
Not that I'm ever justifying, drunk driving.
Sure.
I don't want to, I don't want to be a proponent for that. But Russellville dies because of that. Because it breeds drunks. There's nothing to do. You can get a job there that pays you $10 an hour and work so you can pay your rent, and then that's it.
Yep.
There's not much as far as that goes. But the town itself is so well placed. There's so much. There's so much outdoors. There's so much fishing. And there's so much mountain biking. Nebo's insane.
A lot of
Like,
stuff there now.
there's people there. I always say that a town needs one person per 1,000 in the population trying to make it cool. If you have one young adult trying per 1,000 people, it's 28,000 people in Russellville. You need 28 people trying to make it cool. It'd be an awesome town. 28 people willing to open businesses, nurture their community. Johnny Brazil, who owns Jackalope Cycling, is one of them. We've got a bunch.
Stuff like
yeah,
that.
Leslie
Yeah,
owns
I can see
Gnarkansas.
that.
We've got 16 of them. We need the 28. We're
Right.
getting there. I'm trying to be one of them, and I hope to be in time. I'm still new there, but that and meth. There's a lot of meth there. Have killed what skateboarding was there. It's bad, but it's not a terrible thing because skateboarding there did need to die because Russellville had the worst skate mentality of any place I'd ever been. If you went to that park at any point in the early 2000s, you got vibed so hard.
Yeah,
If you
right.
tried to kickflip up the Euro, everyone who skates there every day who can kickflip up the Euro would do it if you missed it right behind
Right
you.
in front of you.
Yeah, if you tried to crooked grind a ledge and someone could crooked grind shove it, they were going to do it while you were trying it. Every time I went there, that happened to me. It was so insane, and a lot of those people are either drunks, on drugs, or dead from it now. Not that that's a good thing, but they've just gotten removed. And I see this place that tore itself down, and we have this opportunity to build it up.
Yeah.
It's such an affordable place to live.
It is.
There are great restaurants there. There is incredible outdoors. There's so much opportunity there. And you can make a living there because people are hungry for anything that's cool. It's a good city. It just needs some people to give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going for. So I think that soon we'll have more than 8 skateboarders. There's this kid, Johnny. He
no
doesn't
way-
skate
there's
very
no
much.
way you won't.
He's good as can be. Johnny's super good. He just doesn't skate that much. He's got his girlfriend. He's having to pay bills now. He's right at that age.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I like about it is it sounds like a very achievable goal.
Yeah, it's cool. And the name of everyone in the park. And if someone's there who you don't see, if it's like, I've never seen that guy, you can go up and talk to them because they're from out of town.
Yeah.
I was in Mobile, Alabama when we were living on the road, and I went to the skate park. They have a super steep little quarter pipe that goes out into the grass, and it's real thin. It's probably 3.5 foot wide, maybe a 4.5 foot quarter, but it's fast. So anything you do on it counts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you see someone skating that corner, it doesn't matter if they rock to fake it. It's like
If they get something on it.
that's a
Yep.
real skateboarder.
Sure.
You know?
Yep.
And I'm not great now, and I'm not good at jumping, but I can still do front rocks and back tails on anything if I don't have to jump into
Keep it.
So if it's quarter
Yep.
pipe,
Yep.
And so I was skating that quarter pipe in my little line there, and I go back up to the quarter that everyone starts on. And this guy comes up to me, he's like, "Who are you? You're from out of town. I've never seen you. You're ripping. What's up? I'm Zach." And
he's like, you
dude
skated
was
the quarter.
he's good. He lays into front smiths on quarters and stuff. He's a good skateboarder in a metal shirt,
Yeah.
little skinny dude in his 30s, and immediately, let me introduce you to the guys. This is Caleb. This is Zach, other Zach. And you meet the crew.
Yep.
And then they're like, we're going to go skate a private ramp. Do you want to go? Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I go skate this private ramp. I talk to
I
these
love
guys
stuff
all
like
the
that.
time.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
love stuff like
it's
that.
the smallest and healthiest skate scene I've ever seen in my life.
That's
and
cool.
I went down there when I did the video with Gravette. He was flying into Pensacola, and he asked me to get him weed, and I'm not going to drive through Mississippi with weed at all.
Oh,
so
that
I
sounds
asked these
mega
guys
dangerous.
in Mobile.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Oh,
if they could get
right,
it for me,
yeah.
and they set me up for him. And afterwards, when we were coming back through, I was like, we need to go by and see these guys because they did go out of their way
They
to hook
helped
you
out.
up. So let's go
Yeah,
see
it'd be
them.
cool.
And it'll be cool
Yeah.
because they all look up to you, whatever.
Sure.
And we went to their house. They had a
rad.
bonfire.
Oh, they were probably ripped, huh?
Dude, they were so stoked.
Yeah.
And but it was cool because we get to their house. It's like a skate house.
Oh, I love it.
Perfect.
I haven't seen one in a long time because I'm a grown adult man.
That's right.
And
I go to normal
I have
houses
a, I have a wife, and she ain't gonna live there. You go
Yeah.
in, there's 12 boards on a rack. They got the beer bottles and liquor bottles in the kitchen surrounding it like it's decoration.
Yep, that's right.
These dudes are skateboarders to the bone.
Yeah, I love it.
And they're all really, really talented. talented too. I mean, it's crazy to watch them skate that park because you just see tricks that you just don't expect to see. Like they're casual. They all know each other's tricks. They've all skated together their entire adult lives, but like you'll see stuff there that you just will be blown away by. That you're like, I didn't think people did that for fun. You know,
that's cool.
And that's what I now think of as the ideal achievable skate scene is Mobile, Alabama.
That's cool.
And yeah, I think about those guys when I'm trying to plant the seeds with these young kids. I'm not going to live at a skate house. I'm not going to do all that, but I might put them on the path.
You might encourage it,
or just to treat it like that, where you see someone at the park who's trying or not from there, and instead of vibing them and trying to do the trick they're trying to do to show them that you're superior, making friends with them. You know, like. That's ideal.
Well, I think we're in this, you know, in social media culture where it's like you either like it or don't like it. You know, it kind of refreshing to like see something that's just pure.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're like you said, there's no real crazy outlandish goal other than just being friends with the skaters in your local area.
Absolutely.
There's nothing more
just
to it.
Doing and skating.
I do like
simple times.
I have my online store. I have my tattooing. I
Sure.
have all that. I'm like a tax-paying citizen.
Yeah.
I need to like have write-offs.
Sure.
My skateboard brand is being made. Like I shouldn't. They're never going to listen 3 hours. The IRS isn't going to listen for 3 hours. I'm doing it to lose money too.
Sure.
Like it's not. There's no. It's not like my intention, but there's not a thought in my mind about I'm going to make profit from this or anything. It's a write-off. It's good for my community. It's a cool thing that I can give some people some pride in. Every photo I have right now is of Todd.
I love that.
Todd's like,
I looked and I was like, wow, these are all Todd. But,
Yeah.
I mean, love Todd. So.
I shot a backside flip sequence the other day that Jake over this flat gap. Talk about how good this kid is. If I would have backside flipped this thing in my prime, I'd be showing you guys the footage tonight.
It's my
he
pro
did it
part.
like 20 times in a row so I could get it focused. Like in a row. So I could be like, because I'm learning about skate photography. Because
right.
like I'm not that. And I'm trying to take like good photos that show the outdoors. I want trees in the background of every single picture I put on that page. I want it to be Arkansas skateboarding. I don't want it to be fraudulent.
That's right.
And so ditches and fun stuff. I'd show that picture of Todd frontboarding a stump, you know, but I had him do this backside flip. He wasn't even on one of my boards. It's like some board he's riding. It's like, that's fine. I don't care.
Right.
It's not about that. I want to gas up skateboarding, and I want to be a part of it. And yeah, that kid, man, crazy to you want to talk about being put like humbled. Like watch that kid backside flip this flat gap over and over
and getting it every time.
Just so consistent, and they're just beautiful and like, man. But yeah, Todd's been my main photo guy. Nick's going to come do it, hopefully. We've talked about it a lot.
They've been getting him out more.
Yeah.
He's been skating more.
Yeah.
I want to get eventually, if I really do this, I like really stick with it, I want to take my drift boat and take out like the seats and make a mini ramp in it to go do some water tricks one day, or just for like a video.
For a video. That'd be funny.
But I also be careful about feeding that content beast.
I told him, for Gnarkansas, I know where this place is over by the lake, and it's an old creek, and it's solid rock.
Yeah.
And it's curved, but you can't skate it unless it's super dry.
Yeah,
it's
summertime.
Super hot.
I'll come front rock it this summer.
It looks gnarly.
Backtail it. Those are the
it.
two
Back
tricks
tail.
I know how to do. Yeah.
I'll front tail it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
There you go.
let's cut it up on that.
Dude, I love it, man.
Thanks
I love
for having me.
No, man, thanks for coming. We had probably actually we just now hit the 3 hour mark.
As long as I got the new record.
You did.
Yeah.
I sort of say
Well,
I've not been in here more than
If
two.
anyone goes longer than this, I'm coming back.
Yeah. Oh, right. I like
hey,
that.
thank you
I like
for
that.
listening to this. If you're still here,
Dude,
after
yeah,
3
if you're still
hours,
here,
yeah.
We it's you know, when you're having healthy conversation, it's hard to stop. And I think that you know, this being the finale, I get to kind of like wrap my thoughts you know, around how the show has been. And that's one of the things I think is really great is like, you know, we haven't really talked that much, you know, outside of just like, you know,
Tonight?
small chatter
Yeah,
here and there, and this was our lengthiest. And it's like you really get to find out the ideas that are stuck in your head. You're like, wait, other people think like this too?
Yeah.
And like that is like I think skateboarding is like what brings it. You know, it's like, you know, that's the one time in my life that I've actually been able to be with people, and majority case everybody like was on the same level of thinking.
Well,
you know, and like same goes here.
You all love the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, any differences can be set aside because you all love the same thing.
Yeah.
So if there's any takeaway from this,
Yeah.
for anyone who managed to stay the whole time,
Yeah.
I want to do a very brief, suggestive recap.
Okay.
You should love skateboarding,
Yep.
equate it to the rest of your life, gas it up, keep your hands to yourself, and
man,
yeah,
fish.
yeah. Quit watching so many reels.
Yeah,
Go
and
fishing.
go fishing.
Do a kickflip.
Get out of the rabbit hole.
Go fishing, do a kickflip.
Do something organic.
and enjoy the rest of your drive.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, 'cause you better be driving
You
while
better
you're
be driving.
listening to this.
My God.
Yeah. Well, cool.
That's great, man. Everybody, thanks for watching. Season finale, GnarCast. We did it.
Yeah, Gnarcast.
Skater
And,
I made it.
You know,
But you can skate and or die, but like even if you do that, you're still gonna die.
that's right.
Yeah, eventually.
You're always going to die.
See you guys later.
Peace.